get her attention.
Her boyfriend she was with was not pleased with that, apparently, and an altercation between the two of them took place.
Dunwoody Police Sergeant Michael Cheek says they were eventually all kicked out of the business. As the couple left, the man was intentionally hit by a car in the parking lot.
He was transported to Grady Hospital, where he is in critical but stable condition.
The driver fled after the collision. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
And again, police have not made any arrest in the case yet. All right, cloudy skies and scattered showers and storms possible later today with a high of 78. So how's your weekend looking? WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. There's new information this noon in the trade war with China. Despite China saying no tariff deal talks have happened, President Trump is doubling down on his claims that a deal is close.
China continues to say there are no negotiations on trade and tariffs with the United States, but President Trump says he's spoken with President Xi numerous times. Reporters at the White House Friday pushed him to say when those conversations took place.
Have you spoken to him since the tariffs? When did you last
I don't want to comment on that, but I've spoken to him many times.
The president said he would say more at the appropriate time and wants to see if the U.S. can make a deal with China. China so far has played hardball, showing no indication of willingness to de-escalate this standoff.
And that's Karen Travers reporting. The president will attend the funeral mass for Pope Francis tomorrow. He will be among the more than 50 world leaders at the service. And we've just gotten word that former President Biden and his wife will also be in attendance. FBI Director Kash Patel announcing the arrest of a Wisconsin judge with accusations that Judge Hannah Dugan helped and may have advised a suspected undocumented migrant avoid arrest at the courthouse. Scott McFarland following the story.
The FBI director on social media has announced the arrest of a local judge in Milwaukee. Her name is Hannah Dugan, elected about 8 or 9 years ago in Wisconsin. The FBI is alleging that she helped reroute somebody who was in her court who the feds were trying to detain on an immigration issue.
And we've just learned the judge has appeared in court and has been released this morning. New at noon, a woman is arrested for attempting theft at a Marietta car dealership. It's a story that's all new at noon.
63-year-old Paula Hope Hutchinson may not fit a typical profile for a car thief, but the Atlanta woman was caught red-handed with a common tool for the crime. Police were called after a security officer spotted her entering a red Camaro at Marietta Auto Sales on Roswell Road while the business was closed. She ducked behind cars in an effort to hide, but was apprehended. The officers found a backpack containing a Ryobi angle grinder, often used in car theft crimes. Hutchinson faces several charges and is being held without bond at the Cobb County Detention Center. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Two popular coaches at Cobb County's Campbell High School getting their jobs back. There was a huge outcry when James Gwynn and Randy McClure were told that they'd be out of jobs at the end of the school year. Superintendent Chris Ragsdale.
We concluded that investigation, and based on the results, I recommended Coach McClure and Coach Gwynn be offered contracts for rehire by the Cobb County School District for school year 25-26.
And they have accepted and signed those new contracts, meaning they'll be back on the sidelines next school year and in the gym that was named in honor of those two coaches back in 2019. The 10th annual Vote, Run, Lead training conference underway here in Atlanta. The gathering aims to provide first-time female political candidates with the tools they need to run successful campaigns. The group's founder, Erin Velarde.
Our mission actually is to put women's majorities in our state houses across the country. We believe that's a reflective democracy. We're 51% of the population and should be 51% of the seats.
Over a third of this year's participants are from Georgia. The program runs through Sunday. Thousands of Delta employees are here in Atlanta right now to compete in the ultimate plane pulling contest, the annual Delta Jet Drag competition. Delta's Anthony Black telling us.
You might actually be going along the taxiway getting ready to take off on your flight. You'll look over and you'll actually see the jet drag going on outside. So if people are wondering what that is, they'll be able to tell that that's the actual event.
The American Cancer Society and Delta Airlines teaming up to raise money for cancer research. And State Agriculture Commissioner Tyler Harper will ride a bull tonight, a real one, at Reeves Arena at the Georgia National Fairgrounds.
Hopefully it encourage folks to donate a little bit to see me get back on the backside of a bull and try my hand at making the 8-second clock again. So.
And it's all to raise money for Georgia's Future Farmers of America. That bull ride happening at 7:30 tonight. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow currently down 154 points at 39,938. NASDAQ is in positive territory, and so is the S&P. It's up slightly. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Well, we got some better news in Marietta. The delays are really thinning out now. 75 southbound with that crash. They'd cleared right around Delk Road. Right lane still a little bit slow, passing Truist Park, trying to ramp onto 285. They'd cleared up that right lane stall into DeKalb County. I-20 westbound past Panola Road, exit 71. Still seeing some delays back towards Stonecrest through the work zone, but that as well will improve. And the crash 285 northbound, the outer loop ramp to Memorial Drive, that is well on the right shoulder now. Alex Williams, 95.5 WUSB.
Now your 5-day forecast brought to you by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Mostly cloudy through this afternoon, high 79. Widespread heavy rain and thunderstorms will develop late this afternoon into the evening hours, finally fizzling out after midnight. Lows tomorrow morning in the low 60s. Tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy, high 82. Sunshine for Sunday, morning low 61, afternoon high 83. Monday and Tuesday staying dry with partly cloudy skies. Morning lows in the low 60s. Daytime highs in the mid 80s.
More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Here we go, friends. 5K Day Bonus Blitz. Your noon keyword is holiday. 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 Enter the keyword holiday into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword. Win $1,000. The keyword again is holiday. HOLIDAY. Good luck.
Today on The Eric Erickson Show, he's an ex-cop, member of the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Talkers Magazine Humanitarian of the Year, and a 30-year talk radio veteran. Filling in for Eric today, Jeff Katz.
It is indeed Jeff Katz. I'm so happy to be sitting in for Eric. It's always it's a thrill for me, a pleasure for me. I just love hanging out with you who are smart enough to be enjoying Eric's show on a regular basis. I have a confession. I'm watching the funeral of the Pope. Now, at the moment, it's just folks filing past the casket. My wife has that on, and we have a little, I'm going to call it a recreation area, but if I'm going to be honest with you, it's actually a bar. We bought a house with a bar, and it is absolutely insane because we were looking for, a real house with rooms and bathrooms and a roof and floors. And as we were looking, and I was sort of doing the recon ahead of everybody, I came through this particular house, and it's really an interesting mid-century modern. I learned, and all sorts of architectural things. I didn't know anything about it, but I thought it was really cool, and it had a bar. It has a bar. And I took a couple of photos and sent them to my wife, and I said, wouldn't it be funny? Here's the houses I'm looking at. They're all in the same neighborhood. We knew we wanted to be in this particular neighborhood because the services for my daughter were really good. And I said, really cool. This house has so many bedrooms and this and that, and this house has this. I said, oh, by the way, this house has a bar. LOL. And we kept joking about it. Right? We both laughed at it. At first, who's going to buy a house with a bar? That's crazy. And we kept coming back to, how about the house with the bar? We bought the house with the bar. And that was right before COVID theater. You remember the COVID theater experience about 5 years ago? We all pretended it was the end of the world. And Andrew Cuomo was like nailing doors shut on senior citizen facilities in New York. I'm maybe exaggerating just a little bit, but we bought it. And we joke now that had we bought a home that had a home gym during COVID theater, boy, we would be ripped. And instead we bought a house with a bar, and so, we've been ripped. But behind the bar itself, there is, in fact, television, and Heidi chooses the things that go back there. And lots of the time, they're very interesting images. It's an ocean, it's a river. Well, anyway, she's had now, I guess for the last week, she's been watching coverage of the Pope's death and now leading up to the Pope's funeral. I'm not Catholic, and so I don't sit here with any degree of expertise on the functioning of the Catholic Church. But I am watching it. I'm interested. I remember. I can go back as far, I guess, as would have been Pope Paul VI, I think, would have been the Pope that I sort of remember passing away. And there was John Paul I, and he was Pope for a month, 6 weeks. It wasn't very long. And then it was John Paul II forever and ever. And anyway, so we're now at this point. And what's fascinating to me is number one, people are touched by this, which I think is great. But what it puzzles me. It puzzles me some of the legacy news media hacks who are clearly not people of faith in any way. In fact, so many members of the legacy news media are actively anti-faith itself and actively working against anybody who might be a person of faith. And what I've seen and heard and read through the last week have been these so-called reporters projecting their left-wing ideology, which I must tell you is their version of faith. They worship at the altar of government. Bureaucracy is their Bible. That's what sort of guides them, and it guides them in all the wrong directions, and it guides them into our lives with this tremendous overreach, this insulting condescension, this pedantic garbage that they peddle on a regular basis. And so I am listening to them as they tell me, well, you know, Pope Francis was. And then they recite a list of things. And I'm thinking, well, I follow the news as part of my job, right? I'm a talk show host. Now I have two things that I do. I have a job, a regular job, where I host a local radio show. That's my job. And then I also have a business. I provide professional speaking to big groups and companies and corporate events. And so they're two different things. You know, in a business, if you own and operate a business, what do you get? You want to talk about income? No, because you don't have any income. If you're fortunate and successful, you generate revenue. And against all of that revenue, what happens? You got to take out expenses. You got to pay bills. You got to grow that company somehow. If you are fortunate enough to, I keep saying fortunate, if you have gotten to a point where you have employees, you got to pay the employees. Here's what I know from everybody who is a business owner. They get paid last, right? It's always employees you get paid first because you can't do it without them. So for me, it's just me, right? So I get paid first and last, and sometimes don't get paid at all. You know, that's the revenue portion. But then there's the job portion. Job says, hey, you work so many hours, we give you so many dollars, and everybody is, in theory, happy at the end of the day. So my job as a talk radio person for the last 35 years has been following the news. So I follow the news. I follow it. I hate to use the term, but I do follow it religiously. So as I'm listening to these so-called reporters and these alleged journalists telling me about the beliefs of the Pope, I'm trying to make them jibe with reality. And it's just not working out all that great. I'm also looking at them working through this idea that the next pope could very well be what's termed a conservative pope. Once again, I'm not Catholic. I'm not part of the Catholic Church. And so I can't speak to you really on dogma or beliefs or process. But I can tell you, as someone who has taken a theology class or two, who has studied religion throughout the years, that the beliefs of the church seem to me to be the things that ought to be guiding the church, whichever church it happens to be. And when you allow these far left-wing, crazed, religion-hating, legacy news media hacks to get involved, boy, you got problems. Now, I sit here as a Jewish guy, and I can tell you that in large part, and I wish this were not true, but it is, in large part, through massive segments of the Jewish population in America, faith has been replaced by a secular left-wing ideology. I can't tell you how many shuls, how many synagogues I've gone to, my wife has gone to throughout the years, where you go through the service, and fortunately, in most cases, the service is the service, right? There is a liturgy that is thousands of years old, and it is fairly focused. But then you get past the service, right? There's we call an oneg. There's a little reception. Look, we like to eat, so there's a nosh afterwards. But let me tell you something. As you sit around, it's almost exclusively political, left-wing, and very little, if any, faith component to it. There's this concept now, something you may have heard of, all right? Tikkun olam. Tikkun olam is a phrase that talks about repairing the world. Well, it's a marvelous idea, right? And the secular left, inside large chunks of my community, have decided that Tikkun olam is their guiding principle. Now, it would seem positive, right? Well, we're going to repair the world. But it is drawn from the Bible, and I've got to tell you that it totally, completely ignores the part that came before it, which talked about why the world is broken and why the world is in need of repair. Be cautious as you watch some of this coverage of the Pope's funeral and this selection process, the conclave that will happen afterwards. How many folks in that media category believe that they watched the movie Conclave last year, so that's it. They know exactly what's going on, and it's got to be this certain sort of way. I just think it's going to be fascinating, and not necessarily for all of the right reasons, but I sit here because I have the opportunity to just say, as we are watching and listening and reading some of this coverage coming from Rome, from people who, if we want to be honest, are opponents, actual opponents of religion, they actually stand in opposition to faith itself and people of faith. And they're the ones, in large part, who are covering this event. So when somebody says to me, Jeff, there's really no bias in the media, I can tell you with a lot of experience, there's huge bias in the media. All right, couple of things I got to remind you. Number one, you're always welcome to jump in here. I sometimes neglect this, and I apologize, but 877-97-ERIC is how you can do that. 877-973-7425. Those are the numbers that you are more than welcome to utilize. And I'm curious, and I do want to throw this out there to you for people who would describe themselves as people of faith. Do you at this point look at most members, not all, but most members of that legacy media core and think to yourself, they hate everything that I believe in? And there are a couple of ways that you can send me your answer. If you want to shoot me an email, that's great. You can go to thejeffkatsshow.com, thejeffkatsshow.com, and there's a button there to click, and then feel free to shoot an email that way. If you want to hit me up over on X, and by the way, while you're on X, you can give me a follow. I'd love that. Jeff Katz Show on X, Jeff Katz Show on X, and then on Facebook, also a great option for you, The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook, The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook. Just curious to know, as we sort of take this temperature, if you are watching any of the coverage, whether it's actively or, in my case, it's much more passively. I just happen to pass by this TV set a few times a day, and this evening, actually, Heidi and I will sit at that bar, and we'll discuss what happened during the day and make a fun, goofy kind of a cocktail. It's only one, and we just have fun doing it. It's become sort of our thing. And that may very well be on the background, and I'm curious to know if you're watching it in that way. Do you get the same sense I do? That media folks have positioned themselves, they're been positioned there specifically for the goal of trashing people of faith and working against against faith itself? Just curious. All right. While you're noodling around online, please make sure you are signing up for Eric's Daily Brief. My gosh, what a valuable, valuable tool. I don't think I could live without it at this point. I read it. I not just read it every day. I look forward to it every single day. It is Jeff Katz, happy to be sitting in for my friend Eric. This is the Eric Erickson Show.
The world is topsy-turvy. You've got bank issues out there, financial issues, the stock market issues. Gold is soaring. Crypto now appears to be almost a commodity trading with the stock market instead of gold. It's all very weird. And along the way, there's the secret war on cash Swiss America has been warning people about. They're the trusted leader in precious metals, and they have been for 40 years. And they're interested in helping you safeguard your hard-earned cash from this secret war on cash. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they can educate you on protecting your assets. All you got to do is get their free report. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. And by the way, the secret war on cash, it applies to digital currencies as well. Your crypto is not safe from the government. Get a free copy of the report by calling or texting 800-289-2646. Again, 800-289-2646. Just mention Eric. You can even text them my name, E-R-I-C-K. They'll send you a link back to follow. 800-289-2646. The report is completely free from Swiss America. Message and data rates may apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1222, Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Just had a crash pushed to the right shoulder by a Hero unit into cab. 285 northbound, the outer loop, Covington Highway, exit 43. A few brake lights back toward a Glenwood Road. Traveling into Midtown and downtown, a little sluggish both ways. 75, 85 north and south between 17th Street and I-20. Don't forget, traffic lights still flashing red in all directions. Northeast Atlanta, right at Cheshire Bridge Road and La Vista Road. Treat that as a four-way stop. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates, personal injury law firm. If you've been hurt on the job, call John Foy & Associates today. Navigating the laws of workers' comp is not something you should take on alone. John Foy & Associates know Georgia workers' comp laws best. Call their team today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Here we go, friends. 5K Day Bonus Blitz. Your noon keyword is holiday. 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 Enter the keyword holiday into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword. Win $1,000. The keyword again is holiday. Holiday. Good luck.
I bet it is safe to say you are sick and tired of home services companies that don't show up on time, don't fix it right, and then ghost you when you need them later. Hey, it's Chris Chandler. I have learned I don't have to worry about any of that because I only trust TE Certified Electrical, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. TE Certified is a well-oiled machine. They gave me the highest level of communication and follow-up. They're on time, friendly, and fully stocked. And when I say TE is a well-oiled machine, it means you'll have an easy and seamless experience, from quick online scheduling to that personal level of communication before, during, and long after, too, with their lifetime workmanship warranty. As an actual TE customer, I can tell they really do love my home, too. I personally received their 5-star customer experience, and I highly recommend them. TE Certified's well-oiled machine gives you peace of mind, and that's priceless.
TE Certified, we love your home.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
This is Scott Slade, and this is my health story. I get a checkup every year. In last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number of my lab work. I'll never forget his words. I want somebody looking over my shoulder on this. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options and optimism for a good outcome. When we're talking about our health, we shouldn't be shy. I think it's important to talk about what can kill you or rob you of your quality of life. Heart disease is still the nation's #1 killer. And what I think should be right up there with it, procrastination. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often to spot problems while we still have options to deal with them. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. I am living proof that preventive medicine can save lives. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from Virtual Imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free, with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
All the information without the spin. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
It is the Eric Erickson Show. Jeff Katz, happy to be sitting in for my friend Eric on a lovely day. At least it is a lovely day here in Central Virginia. Sun is shining. It's not too humid. We've got some much-needed rain on the way. It's good. It's good, is what I'm saying. And I'm curious if you have seen what I've seen when it comes to the coverage of the Pope's funeral. Taking a look at an email from Mitch. Mitch went to thejeffkatzshow.com and then clicked the button there to send the email. It says, Jeff, it seems the media only puts down really mostly Jews and Christians. Well, you know what's interesting? I say to my friends, I say to my Christian brothers and sisters, you guys got to step up your game. I'm serious, because the one group in America right now that it is absolutely positively somehow, some way acceptable to attack, insult, and demean happens to be Christians. You better take a look around if you don't think that's so. There are certain groups that seem absolutely positively just off limits. Don't ever say anything in this direction. Whoa, don't say anything in that direction. Well, can we make fun of the Jewish guy? Yeah, probably roll the dice. What's going to happen? Well, some of us are going to hit back is what's going to happen. What about the Christians? They're quiet. They're not going to say a thing. Well, wait a minute. Why not? Because you've told them that they can't say a thing. Because you and the media continually insult and demean Christians. And so it has become absolutely, positively acceptable, and I'm making those annoying air quotes while I use the term acceptable, to insult and mock and demean Christians. That's why I'm saying, as a friend, you got to step up and you got to push back. I'll give you as much help as I can, but you got to take point on this one. All right, we got a lot, I mean a lot, that we are going to be covering. Major Supreme Court case, no, over in the United Kingdom. And it should be a great case. It should be a case that sends all sorts of wonderful messages. And guess what? There are people who have vowed to work against it. I'll give you the details. And again, you get ahead of the game. It's posted on X, Jeff Katz Show, Facebook, The Jeff Katz Show. It is Jeff Katz. Happy to be sitting in for Eric. This is the Eric Erickson Show.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
traffic, 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Former New York Congressman George Santos will spend over 7 years behind bars. He was sentenced today in a New York courtroom. Santos pleading guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft and admitted he stole from campaign donors and lied about it to Congress. Your weather for today, cloudy with scattered showers and storms possible late afternoon, highs around 79, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. WSB's top local story: in Dunwoody, police searching for a driver who they say intentionally ran over a man outside the Bird restaurant at Ashford Dunwoody Road early this morning. According to police, a fight broke out inside that bar between a couple and another man. All three were told to leave. Michael Cheek with Dunwoody Police telling us,
as that gentleman and his girlfriend were leaving the restaurant, as soon as they stepped into the parking lot, a vehicle drove and willfully struck the male, causing him serious injuries.
The victim is at Grady Hospital this afternoon in critical but stable condition. A search underway for the driver. So far, no description of the vehicle has been released to the media just yet. The Red Cross working with 6 families forced out of their homes after an apartment fire in DeKalb County. Firefighters say 8 units at the Ashbury apartment homes on Flat Shoals Parkway suffered damage. Investigators believe the fire started in the basement. The cause of the fire under investigation. No injuries have been reported. South Carolina's top prosecutor wants the capital city to repeal its ban on conversion therapy for minors. AG Alan Wilson is telling Columbia city leaders that the 2021 ban violates state law and First Amendment rights. He says Columbia has until May 5th to repeal the ban. The therapy is meant to change someone's sexual or gender identity. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow's down 81 at 40,012. NASDAQ is currently up about a little more than 0.5%. And the S&P is also in positive territory. It's 12:32.
April showers bring May flowers, but they may also lead to water inside your home. Dave Baker here for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Rain means trouble for your roof, and when it does, think of Findlay first. The perfect match for any roofing issue. And with Findlay, manners matter. They'll treat your home like it's their own with 5-star exceptional service. Plus, Findlay offers upfront pricing, 0% financing, and a free roof analysis. FindlayRoofing.com. Roof.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. It's hard to imagine, but one day in retirement, your income will stop. You may have been working for 30 or 40 years, but now you'll have to depend on the money you've saved for the next 30 years. How do you know if you've saved enough? What does it mean to spend confidently in retirement? One of the worst things that you can do is get to retirement and not know how much income your investments can produce. At Nicholas Wealth, we created a plan that will show you what your investments can potentially generate in dividends, interest, and growth in retirement. We call this our Spend Confidently plan. When's the best time to turn on Social Security? What are some of the best dividend-paying stocks available? Our CPAs and CFPs will show you what your income number is and how a diversified portfolio of income-producing investments could potentially provide you consistent monthly income. Our Retire Ready Income Report, it's a $1,000 value. We'll provide it completely complimentary if you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement and you give us a call in the next 10 minutes. Number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
Hey, if you've been thinking about selling your home, now is the time. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, now you can sell your home fast and for more than you expect. Hey, Sean Hannity here. One of the most stressful things about selling your home is not being able to control the timing. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate, they allow you to receive an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days. Just go to markspain.com to find out what your guaranteed offer will be. That's markspain.com, and you can start packing.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Watching the brake lights, heading out of Midtown toward downtown on 75-85 southbound from 17th Street down toward North Avenue. Busy spot for construction in the lunch hour, and it's out there. Peachtree Road northbound, right next to Piedmont Hospital in front of Chick-fil-A there. At Collier Road, only a left turn lane is open, so Peachtree really jammed between Midtown and Buckhead. I'd consider using North Side Drive as an alternate. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly cloudy today, high 79. Scattered rain showers showers and thunderstorms develop through the afternoon and evening hours.
72 degrees in Brookhaven, 74 in Union City, here in Midtown Atlanta, 73. More news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Filling in for Eric today, Jeff Katz.
It's the Eric Erickson Show. Jeff Katz happened to be sitting in for my friend Eric. Lots of stuff that you and I have got to deal with as we head through the next couple of moments. And I want to give you a little piece of one thing. I tell people on a regular basis, listen, there's some things you don't have to pay attention to. There's just some things that you do not have to pay attention to. There's some things you don't have to watch because, well, I watch it so that you don't have to. Let me give you an example. MSNBC, one of those things, don't watch. It's like 5 people that watch. 4 of them are talk show hosts who listen and watch to be able to mock them at some point. That's why I do. But they're weighing in on yet another subject, and I have to share this with you, and I caution you about that outlet and then The View. I watch The View, and I'm thinking, I don't know why. I watch it, I'm thinking my hair hurts. I know that brain cells are dying, but I guess somebody has to so that they can share with others exactly what sort of nonsense is out there. Now, you remember, well, just about 100 days ago, President Trump took the oath of office. It was a very exciting time. I'm very excited. Tuesday, I've been invited up to the White House, so that's going to be great. I've not been to the White House. Excited about getting up there, hearing from people inside Team Trump and this administration, which I personally happen to think is doing wonderful work. I do. I think this president is looking in a generational way as opposed to a moment-to-moment way. But I digress. We'll chat about that in a moment. But about 100 days ago or thereabouts, President Trump raised his hand, took the oath of office. Michelle Obama was not there, right? Whatever reason, Michelle Obama decided she wasn't going to go. I don't remember a lot of discussion about it. I remember a couple of people saying, wonder where Michelle Obama is. And other people saying, who cares? And that was the extent of the conversation. Maybe, in fairness, maybe somebody said, I wonder where Michelle Obama is. And other people said, is she not here? No, she's not here. Was she supposed to be here? Well, she's a former president's wife, former first lady. You'd think she'd show up. Yeah, I guess you. Yeah, well, okay. What were we having for lunch? I don't think there was a lot of examination. However, The View is convinced, Whoopi Goldberg in particular, that any question about that was somehow rooted in misogyny and racism and I don't know, pick some other buzzwords out. Because Michelle Obama apparently now has a podcast. No, I have not subjected myself. Even I have a limit as to how much abuse I will suffer, how much injury I will take on behalf of others. But take a listen. Cut number 1, please.
My question about all of this is, why does she owe anybody an explanation? I don't understand why.
Well, there were rumors that she was having trouble in her marriage. She's clearing it up.
But again, this is the 4th time she's had to do this, and I don't understand why. If she says I didn't go, why do I have to know? Why do I have to ask you? Oh, what did you get your friend this month, or did you not go because why is it my business? She didn't go.
If I had to listen to Trump babble on for 2 hours, I'd have menstrual cramps too.
You know why? I think it's because women are always expected to say yes and expected to do things even when they don't want to do them. I remember in my 20s and my 30s, I didn't know the power of no. I just people expected me to say yes to almost everything. Is that how you got pregnant all those times? Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. But I think in your 40s and certainly now in my 50s, I say no when I don't want to do anything, and it comes with wisdom, and it gives you time and freedom.
Really?
It gives you the,
I must be a freak of nature.
You are. Well, you're different.
Because I don't understand why you would go somewhere and be uncomfortable. See, I don't want to be uncomfortable. If I know I'm going someplace and it's not a good thing for me, I don't do it because it's not good for me.
Were you always like that?
Always.
But see, she
your mom
decides
taught you a lot of
she
stuff.
doesn't go, and then there's people jump to the worst conclusion. It's her
Yes.
marriage is falling apart.
Yeah.
And I literally just on Instagram the other day saw her pictures or video of her and President Obama on a date in Georgetown, like holding hands and out together. But people often, if a woman decides to make a decision, they're like, and a public figure, they're going to jump
Well,
to
let
the
me
worst
ask you
possible
this,
conclusion.
because I notice, and maybe I'm just making stuff up, but I notice that when Melania doesn't go anywhere, people don't flip out the way they've been flipping out. They talk about it too. Well, we joke about it, but she is not obligated. She is not obligated to explain why she doesn't go, and I don't understand why one and then the
it's
other.
all over Twitter when she does that. They think she's in witness protection.
Yeah, but I would say it actually brings
that's
you
his body
to
double.
one of my points, which is when you're the acting first lady, I think the obligations are different and probably should be different. But when you are out of office, you are out of office. Peace. Like, she is allowed to say peace.
All right, that's enough. I know I subjected you. Like, it was, what are you thinking? You're thinking, what, Jeff, that was like an hour. Well, believe it or not, it's about 68 seconds, which is longer than I should have. I know, because I like you. But here's the weird thing. Believe it or not, one thing that Whoopi Goldberg said was absolutely correct. Oh, I know. It's the first time for me as well. But one thing she said was absolutely correct. If you're invited someplace and it's going to be someplace where you're not comfortable, most of us say, yeah, thanks, I'm good. Not going to go. Not interested. Your spouse have some friends that are his friends or her friends, and you think, well, yeah, they're getting together. Last thing I want to do is go and hang out with them. Now, there's probably a polite invitation, right? My wife is heavily into all sorts of music, and I mean all sorts. She worked in music. That was her first job out of college. On the retail side, on the merchandising side, on the band management side, we've got thousands of records and CDs and all that other stuff. So that's her thing. That's her thing. And so many of her friends have been friends for, well, I don't want to say how long she's been out of college, but let's just say it's more than a year or two. So she's got a whole collection of, as I refer to them, degenerate music pals. And she goes and spends a weekend with friends, or she goes to this bunch of concerts. We have mutual friends who live in England. And it's a really interesting situation because the husband is a music person in the same way that my wife is. And the wife of this particular guy is kind of like me in that she just doesn't care. And in fact, she just doesn't like a lot of the concert stuff. So we figured out years ago, that we're perfectly okay with our spouses, my wife, her husband, going and traveling for concerts. Right now, they split the cost of a car. They get hotel rooms or Airbnbs that are discounted, what have you. But they go to see the concerts and they have these experiences with somebody else who actually enjoys it and is excited about it. In our case, if my wife had to take me to some of these concerts, not only would I be miserable, she would be miserable because she would know I was miserable because I would tell her how flippin' miserable I was. I wouldn't be any fun, so why should she take me? Now, maybe she gives me the polite invitation. Well, Jeff, I'm going to D.C., because we're in Central Virginia. We're just down the roads a piece, as we might say, from Washington. I'm going to D.C. This concert is happening. You want to go? Nope. Oh, good, because my friend. I just make up a name. My friend Sarah, who I went to college with, she's coming in for it, and then Becky is coming in. So we're gonna absolutely have a great time. I got stuff handled here at home, right? If you don't know, I got 3 kids. Now, my oldest guy has graduated from college and is at this moment gainfully unemployed. Had a great job in California, And then he got downsized, as they say, and so he's back here for a bit as he figures out his next move. And my little guy is just finishing up his second year up in Ithaca, New York, at college. But in the middle, my daughter Julia just turned 22. Julia's my princess, but even though Julia is chronologically 22, developmentally Julia's about 18 months old. So, doesn't speak, has to wear diapers, needs help with everything. She can't do anything on her own. But I truly do love Julia more than life. And as I tell the boys, I love them each the same, each of my three children, but I do love Julia the most. So anyway, I will say to Heidi, look, I've got it. I got Julia. Yeah, go ahead, take a weekend. You go, because that's what Heidi's job is now. She's caretaker for our daughter, and it's demanding. So I don't have any problem with that. And if Whoopi Goldberg were to be consistent, then she would be on the mark. She'd say, hey, you get to a point where you say, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do that. But then the rest of the coven there, the yakking yentas jump in with, well, when Melania doesn't go, then there's a series of insults. So you can't have it both ways. There's another factor to this. If you are the first lady, or you are the second lady, or you're the former such and such, guess what? There are some job responsibilities that come with that. And sometimes you do have to go to events that you don't like, because that's part of the job. But I just thought you needed to hear that, because there's no fair shake over there. And I really had hope. This is the weird thing. When I realized that the discussion was going to be, all about Michelle Obama, and does she owe us an explanation, I thought, no, I haven't thought about Michelle Obama in years. Happily. And then this came up, and I was forced to think about her, and then I thought, I don't need to think about her. I hope she's having a happy life. I really do. I thought her husband was one of the worst presidents in the history of America, until Joe Biden came along, and I realized, technically Joe Biden wasn't even the president. Whoever it was that was operating the Joe Biden animatronic device, pulling the strings and the levers, they were the most dangerous and truly worst president, in quotes, in history. But I thought Obama was a terrible president. And so I certainly haven't missed him. Is he out living a happy life? I hope so. Right? What do they say? Oh, they saw a photo or something on Instagram of the two of them on some sort of a date in Georgetown. Good. I really am. I'm happy to hear that. And I hope they have a long, happy, healthy life. And I hope that they are never, ever, ever involved in any sort of public policy at any time again. But does she owe me an explanation? No. But does the View group owe an apology yet again to Melania Trump, the First Lady? Yeah, they absolutely do. I mentioned this Supreme Court case, and you're thinking, all right, which way did Amy Coney Barrett go on this? Is she with us or is she against this? No. I'm not talking about the Supreme Court of the United States. I'm talking about the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, which last week, as the result of a case brought by Scottish lesbians, decided that women, ready for this? Women are women. Wow. Who'd have thunk that one? How'd they figure that one out? But they did. The lesbians from Scotland said, listen, we are women. And as lesbians, we as women love other women. And we're telling you, those dudes over there, they are not women. Now do something about it. And the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, even though that nation has gone woke and consequently gone broke, even they said, ladies, you're right. Those guys are not gals, and they never will be. I mean, that's the bottom line here. XX doesn't equal XY, XY doesn't equal XX, and I don't care how much makeup or clothing or so-called surgical procedures you have or medication you're taking. It's never going to change. Now, that doesn't mean I hate you. Hate is such an active thing. I don't care about you enough to hate you. I really don't. I also wish you a long, happy, healthy life. Makes you happy to dress up like that, then you go ahead and dress up like that. But I'm not going to tell you that that makes you a woman. It doesn't. It makes you a guy wearing a dress. And again, if it makes you happy, I'm okay. It doesn't hurt anybody else. What do I care? But we'll discuss some folks, believe it or not, who have heard that Supreme Court case in the United Kingdom and have already decided they're going to be actively working against it. I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. Hey, if you want to jump ahead of everybody else, I do have that story and everything else actually posted. You can take a look at Jeff Katz Show over on X. Give that a follow, would you? Jeff Katz Show on X and on Facebook. The Jeff Katz Show. The Jeff Katz Show. It is Jeff in for Eric. This is the Eric Erickson Show.
Yo, we got a computer from Vision Computer a couple of years ago for my son. He wanted a gaming PC. I'm a Mac guy. Gaming PCs are Windows machines. They have the big GPUs from NVIDIA. Like, I didn't know what to do, but I knew I didn't want to go to the one-size-fits-all big box store, so we reached out to Vision Computers before they were an advertiser. And they were phenomenal. They sat with him. They talked to him about the games he wanted to play, the stuff he did, what he wanted to do in the future. And they got him a machine that was perfect for him. It's going to hold up over time when he heads off to college, hopefully getting into an architecture program. He's going to be able to use it. And I never have to be the tech support guy. I'm always the tech support guy, but I never am with him because he has a number he can call and Vision takes care of him. They've got thousands of 5-star reviews and they can do this for you or your business. Be tech support, upgrade your existing computers, or build you new ones. Call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. Mention I sent you. You'll save even more money, but you're going to save regardless. Visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. Any one of you nationwide can take advantage of Vision Computers.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
1251, Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Heads up downtown right now. They're holding a few right lanes. 7585 southbound, right under the North Avenue Bridge, exit 249. Trying to get a stall off to the right. I believe they're dragging it as we speak, but that's keeping you slow back from the 85-400 merge. Elsewhere in the Midtown Buckhead area, construction continues in the right lanes. Peachtree Road northbound at Collier Road. And if you're traveling on 75 through Marietta and Kennesaw, you're on and off the brakes heading northbound, leaving at Delk Road up toward 575 in the Barrett Parkway area. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Pope Francis lies in state.
Francis only wanted to be buried in a simple wood box.
World leaders head to Rome.
President Trump plans to attend the funeral for the Pope.
And the Vatican prepares to say goodbye.
The line stayed at St. Peter's Basilica for 3 days.
The funeral of Pope Francis. Live coverage begins tomorrow morning at 4 a.m.
His final wishes call for his burial at St. Mary Major Basilica.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163. 546.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Looking for a great dining memory, y'all? Hey, it's Belinda. I love the amazing Southern food and service at Old Vinings Inn. If you haven't been there yet, you're missing out. Nestled in the heart of Vinings, that charming house offers a cozy, upscale, and welcoming atmosphere, perfect for any occasion. Romantic dinner, baby or bridal shower, business dinner, night out with friends. Old Vinings Inn has you covered. Indulge in delectable Southern cuisine, crafted with the freshest ingredients. Savor their signature fried green tomatoes and fried chicken, or delight in the rich flavors of my favorite, shrimp and grits. Everything on the menu is a winner. You thirsty? The curated wine list and handcrafted cocktails are sure to impress. Enjoy all that plus live entertainment and specials at the Attic Bar. Wednesday through Saturday nights. Ready for fun and flavor now, y'all? Open for lunch and brunch Thursday through Sunday and dinner Wednesday through Saturday. Reserve your table or large groups today at Old Vinings Inn.
All the information without the spin. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
It is the Eric Erickson Show. Jeff Katz, happy to be sitting in for Eric. I mentioned the Supreme Court case in the United Kingdom. Says, listen, as a result of the case brought by a group of lesbians from Scotland, the justices on the United Kingdom Supreme Court said, yeah, ladies, you're absolutely right. Women are women, men are men. Boys are boys, girls are girls. Thank you. Next case, please. Where are we going for lunch? It really, honest to goodness, was not a long, involved thing. Now, there were a number of guys, apparently, dressed as women, trying to convince the justices that, in fact, they were women. And that if you didn't acknowledge that they were women, then you hated them. Now, 1,000 years ago, when I was in school, psychology was my area of study. I took abnormal psychology, as everybody did who was psych major, human services major. And the first thing they tell you when you are studying abnormal psychology, when you're going into work with any sort of a group, what have you, if you have somebody who's having a delusion, you cannot agree with the delusion. If I say to you, I am hearing voices telling me to do terrible things to family members, don't you hear them? You can't say, oh, yeah, I hear them, because now you have validated that delusion. What you can say is, well, I understand you think you're hearing them. I understand you believe you're hearing them, but no, I don't hear them. So, do I hate that person? No. Do I care about that person? Yes. Do I validate their delusion and do that to work? No, you can't. It's probably one of the most dangerous things you could do. And I think this is the same case. We'll examine it a little bit more, but when you hear what that Supreme Court over there said, and you now hear some of the people standing up against it, man, it is at best confusing. That's the nicest thing that I can actually say about it, that it is confusing. The reality is, I think it's dangerous. And I think it's dangerous for my wife, my daughter. It's dangerous for your grandmother, your aunt. And we've got to be able to tell the truth on these things. Happy to be sitting in for Eric. This is Jeff Katz, and this is the Eric Erickson Show.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Window Nation. A man's in critical condition this afternoon after he was hit by a car outside a Dunwoody sports bar intentionally.
It started as a bar fight. A man approached a couple at the bar at the Bird on Ashford Dunwoody Road. He touched the woman to get her attention. That's when her boyfriend started fighting. The man, Dunwoody Police Sergeant Michael Cheek, says the three were eventually kicked out.
As that gentleman and his girlfriend were leaving the restaurant, as soon as they stepped into the parking lot, a vehicle drove and willfully struck the male, causing him serious injuries.
That vehicle drove off. The man was taken to Grady Hospital, where he's in critical but stable condition. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
And again, so far, no arrests have been made. All right, your weather for today. Cloudy skies, scattered rain showers, a few thunderstorms around late afternoon, highs around 79. This is new this afternoon. Cuts to the CDC here in Atlanta and healthcare dominate a Marietta town hall with U.S. Senator John Ossoff.
Members of the public inside the Cobb Civic Center expressed their frustration with the Trump administration's actions. This woman telling Ossoff,
I will not live in an authoritative country, and neither will any of these people. You can do more.
Ossoff condemning administration policy as a new experiment in monarchy.
There is no button that I can simply press that I'm not pressing, or some tool of procedure that I can use that I'm not using that will reverse what they're doing.
He urged the public to continue to speak out. Ossoff is up for re-election next year. In Marietta, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
Disgraced former U.S. Representative George Santos has been sentenced over 7 years in prison. The New York Republican pleading guilty last summer to federal wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. He admitted he deceived donors and stole the identities of nearly a dozen people to fund his congressional campaign. He served less than a year in Congress before being expelled in 2023 after his lies and fraud were uncovered. New York State Commissioner of Labor Roberta Reardon saying Santos got what he deserved.
He certified every week that he was unemployed through no fault of his own while he was collecting a $120,000 salary from a company in Florida. And this is not a victimless crime.
A prosecutor sought a 7-year prison sentence for Santos. His lawyers had called for 2 years behind bars. President Trump is on his way to Rome for the funeral of Pope Francis. While in Rome tomorrow, the president will be in the same city as many world leaders, including Ukraine's president, amid efforts to work out a ceasefire. Olivia Rinaldi says Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is meeting with Russia's President Putin.
They said they have a lot of things going on. He feels very confident that they could reach a potential deal with Russia on the ongoing war in Ukraine.
Check back for updates. We'll continue to follow this story. It's 1:02.
This is Scott Slade. Let's talk about how to improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. For me, it's preventive medicine. My doctor saw one funky number in my lab work that eventually led to a diagnosis early enough so I still had options. You just got to have a medical professional looking at you every so often, especially when we're talking about heart disease, the nation's #1 killer. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. So don't put this off, especially with this offer for virtual imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
It's the NRA annual meetings and exhibits at the World Congress Center, April 25th to 27th. 14 acres of guns and gear. A freedom-filled weekend with activities for the entire family. Tickets just $10. NRA members get in free. Visit NRAtickets.com.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for the Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams has a look at your roads.
Earlier stalls in downtown, 75-85 southbound, right at North Avenue, exit 249 next to the Varsity there. Hero got that off to the right, had to hold lanes to do so. That's why it's still pretty jammed up coming southbound from the 85-400 merge. Elsewhere, construction continues in the right lane. Peachtree Road northbound at Collier Road, really jamming up that ride between Midtown and Buckhead. If you'd like, you can use Northside Drive. And in Cobb County, 75 northbound, on and off the brakes from South Marietta Parkway, exit 263, as you make that commute up to Chastain Road, exit 271 in Kennesaw. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly cloudy today, high 79. Scattered rain showers and thunderstorms develop through the afternoon and evening hours.
73 degrees in Roswell and Beaufort. Kennesaw has 74. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Today on The Eric Erickson Show, he's an ex-cop, member of the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Talkers Magazine Humanitarian of the Year, and a 30-year talk radio veteran. Filling in for Eric today, Jeff Katz.
Jeff Katz, happy to be sitting in for my friend Eric. It is the Eric Erickson Show. I always suggest to you that you get signed up for Eric's Daily Brief. It is vital. I'm telling you right now, if you want to know what is really going on, you have got to get yourself signed up for that. It's interesting to take a look around the country right now and see that the FBI has now arrested a judge for obstructing immigration enforcement. County judge out in Milwaukee arrested by the FBI for allegedly obstructing an immigration arrest. According to FBI Director Kash Patel, the judge misdirected federal agents away from Eduardo Flores Ruiz, an illegal alien, allowing him to initially evade arrest. The incident took place last week. Although Ruiz was later apprehended, the judge, Judge Dugan, now faces obstruction of justice charges. Good! Send her away for a long, long time. Let me tell you something. We got a handful of these district judges at the federal level who seem to be operating under the delusion that they were elected president of the United States. Now, I'm not a district court judge. I'll never be a district court judge. I understand that it's an important role. I'm not demeaning it or diminishing it in any way, but I am going to tell you this. You are not the president. And please don't take this the wrong way, but I don't give a crap what you think about any issue except the matter that may be in front of you that is actually based in the law. That's your role. Anybody remember The Rock? Know your role. There need to be, in my humble opinion, some arrests of those federal judges that are engaging in this activity. If it is a criminal activity like is alleged against this judge, Hannah Dugan of Milwaukee. There's another thing that has to happen. Part of what has to happen is that Congress needs somehow, some way, to rein in these district courts. I had asked a friend of mine who's actually a former federal prosecutor if the Supreme Court, if the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court had responsibility for overseeing these judges. I think, like a lot of us, I just assumed that the Chief Justice of the United States was actually in charge of all the federal courts. And I got a little education in our nation's jurisprudence structure, the flow chart, if you will. They're not. The Chief Justice is not in charge of them. I guess the Chief Justice every once in a while sends an email saying, hey, we're going to be changing to yellow robes, or I don't know, whatever it is. But other than that, there's not much. And the answer is no. He's not in charge of these other judges. The only thing that the Constitution calls for is the Supreme Court. That's the only thing established by the Constitution. These district judgeships have all been created by Congress. So it is actually under the purview of Congress. Congress tomorrow could say, we don't want however many districts we have. Let's say we have 10. Nope, we're going to cut them in half. We're now going to have 5 districts. We don't need 1,000 district court judges. We only need 500. That's it. We're going to be downsizing. They could do that. Will they do that? Well, I kind of doubt it. But they've got to do something. They have to do something. 100 days into President Trump's second term, what are we seeing? We're seeing that the left still has nothing to offer America. The Democrats, honest to goodness, have nothing to offer America that is of any real value or consequence. Do you want to tell me about the economy? Okay. There's a lot of discussions about the economy right now, correct? Of course. There are people who are trying to figure out tariffs. Are these good? Are these bad? Do we know what's really involved with tariffs? I don't know. I think I do. I am a much more passionate supporter of President Trump than some. I look at what it is that he has been able to do, and I'm very inspired by it. Very inspired by it. I look at his mission, and I'm seeing generational issues coming up. I think that the tariffs are, in fact, some way, somehow causing some people some discomfort or pain right now. I'm sorry to hear that. But if it means that 20 years from now, 50 years from now, your kids and my kids are living in a nation where things are manufactured and we are not just, quote, a service economy, because that by that point, we will be a service economy for our overlords of the Chinese Communist Party. And make no mistake, we're already well on the way to that. I think there was a guy named Hayek talked about the road to serfdom, right? That's kind of where we're headed right now. So I'm on board with that. There are those I know who say, well, President Trump is always he's always ahead of everybody else. There are others who say, oh, my God, he doesn't even know what he's doing. And, well, I would say that the truth, as with most things, is probably somewhere in the middle. Although in this case, I would say it is much more towards the people who are saying he's thinking ahead. You can hate him all you want. I have a lot of friends who really just, they hate him. And I've asked them, well, why? They have difficulty explaining why. And if you go through policies, you go through issues, well, you like this? Yeah. You know, what about that? Yeah, that's good. He's the guy doing that. Yeah, I know, but I don't like him. Okay. Well, I mean, I think at that point it's kind of on you. I've had the opportunity. I've been really, really fortunate I've been able to speak with him a couple of times. I've been able to meet him. Not for some extended conversation, not like, hey, come on, hey, Jeff, I got the weekend free. I'll send the jet for you. You come down to Mar-a-Lago, you hang out for a bit. No, not like that. But enough time to interact with him and realize a couple of things that are true. Number one, unless I've completely and totally misread the guy, and I don't think I have, he's a nice guy. He's a funny guy. And I mean really funny. And he's a smart guy. Once again, I know that people say, I just don't believe that. Well, that's okay. Your mileage may vary, as they say. I'm telling you, he's doing stuff right now that is big picture, long term. And it is for the benefit of our kids. And the only thing that his opposition has left is the court system. And that's why you're seeing all of these ridiculous lawsuits. But even more ridiculous than the lawsuits, which should simply not be accepted. Or they should get in front of the judge for a moment when the judge says, absolutely not. This has nothing to do with us. This is dismissed with prejudice. Get out of here and stop wasting the court's time. That's what these judges should be saying. But because so many of these judges are themselves leftists, progressives, Democrats, they believe that they're well within their right to act like they're the president. So all of this stuff that's going on, every single one of these roadblocks being thrown up in the way of President Trump and his team getting the job done, are eventually headed to the Supreme Court of the United States. You know that, and I know that. And there's going to be an epic battle between the executive and everybody else. What is the role of the executive branch? What does the president of the United States have not just the right to do, but the responsibility to do? There are certain things that are specifically for the president of the United States, period, end of story. It's not your responsibility. That's not my responsibility. And this will eventually have to be all played out at the court. And the other part of this, you need to be very clear on this. It hasn't happened before. And there's no other president that's ever seen anything like this. Not a single solitary president ever in the history of the United States of America has had to deal with this. And I don't see President Trump or Team Trump stepping back from any of it. I see them saying full steam ahead. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I am, honest to goodness, happy to see that a judge out in Milwaukee has been arrested by the FBI for obstruction of justice because she helped an illegal alien get away. So my hat is off to Kash Patel. My hat is off to every member of the Federal Bureau of Investigation for doing that. I want to see them do more of that. Instead of telling members of the FBI, hey, go out and go to school board meetings and see if you can find any parents who are upset with things that are going on with their kids, which happened, sadly, when the Biden machine was in power. Now we're seeing the FBI go out and truly, honestly enforce the law and do investigations. One other thing. Speaking of investigations in the FBI and enforcing the law, remember George Santos? You remember him, right? Played the part of a congressman for, I don't know, a year or two. Apparently, it was like an ongoing grift. He has now been sentenced to more than 7 years in federal prison. That's a long time. And when you're dealing with the federal system, you don't get that whole day for a day, good time, you made your bunk, we're taking a month off your sentence nonsense. When they send you to Club Fed, you go to Club Fed and you stay. You stay a long time. So he's gotten, I don't I didn't do the math, but it's more than 7 years. Because the federal system, for some reason that absolutely still puzzles me, they impose sentences in months. And then you have to do that quick math, and I'm not a math guy. But it is more than 7 years. So former Congressman George Santos headed to federal prison now, apparently. Not apparently. He's headed to federal prison now for more than 7 years. If you want to read the details, I'm just getting them up now. I'll have them up on X, Jeff Katz Show. If you don't mind, give that a follow while you're over there. I'd really appreciate that. Jeff Katz Show on X. Same thing over on Facebook, The Jeff Katz Show. The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook and Jeff Katz Show on X. It is Jeff Katz. Very, very happy to be sitting in for my friend Eric. This is the Eric Erickson Show.
Don't you want a bank you can be proud of, a bank you enjoy doing business with? I did. I went to Old Glory Bank. I was a little hesitant to use an online bank because I had used one and it wasn't a good experience. Like, I didn't know you couldn't deposit cash, except you can at Old Glory Bank. At Old Glory Bank, they've made it really easy with 88,000 retail locations around the country. They're super innovative. Their app is really cool. The people you deal with are great. Even if you're a business, you can get a great business account with them. And you can get a no-fee checking, no-fee savings account if you're an individual. Get one for your kid. They got a great app. They got great budgeting tools, great bill pay. They are legit. I really like them. I asked them to advertise. I'm just effusive with praise for them. You can go to oldglorybank.com today, and you can sign up with them. Oldglorybank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. I also bought stock in the company. You can, too. You can go to own.oldglorybank.com, and you can invest in Old Glory Bank. Stock goes up and down. It's not FDIC insured. You should talk to a professional about it, but they're a great company, y'all. oldglorybank.com. Go check them out.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Watching that Friday volume pick up into Midtown and downtown on I-85 southbound, stacking in just south of Georgia 400 for the ride passing 17th Street and the Varsity there. Northbound on and off the brakes as well from University Avenue up to Peachtree Pine Street. Heads up for the construction continuing between Midtown and Buckhead. Peachtree Road northbound at Collier Road. Just a left lane is open there. It's slow in that ride. You can use Northside Drive as an alternate. And traffic lights still flashing red on Cheshire Bridge Road at La Vista Road. Traffic brought to you by Lear Capital. Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at betternestegg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every
This
weekday.
is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
On 95.5 WSB.
You still want a new deck on your house, but you think you may have missed a deck building window? Well, you're wrong. Dave Baker here. At Ben Hill Renovations, deck building goes on year-round. Whether your existing deck is old, rotting, and unsafe, or you just want to upgrade your outdoor living space, now is the perfect time to get the ball rolling. Check out their new website at bhrenovations.com. Better yet, go to their showroom, speak with the designer, and see all that they have to offer up close. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
Hey, it's Scott Slade with another big update from my friends at MyLend. They've got a new mortgage available to those of you who own a rental home or investment property. This loan allows you to qualify based on the cash flow of the property. And that means you don't need to provide your income or employment like a traditional mortgage. It's special programs and industry knowledge like this that keep me talking about the abilities of my friends at MyLend. Whether you're looking to buy a new home, refinance to lower your payment, or need to see how you can access the equity in your home to pay off other debts, do yourself a favor. Call my friends at MyLend. Countless 5-star reviews and testimonials from homeowners just like you. MyLend's been a top mortgage lender in Atlanta and a friend of mine for decades. Give MyLend a call today. 770-817-2000. That's 770-817-2000. Online, it's mylend.com. Spell it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS in Georgia residential mortgage licensee 148769. Located at 8995 West Side Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. MyLend is an equal housing lender.
If it's the big story, it's on 2. Channel 2 Action News this morning. I'm Fred Blankenship.
And I'm Lori Wilson. Big stories are always breaking. It may start in the morning, but the impact continues all day.
We're constantly working to bring you fresh information from different perspectives.
This is Developing Live. Our reporters are working to get you all the angles right now.
When it comes to the big story, this is always the place to get ready for your day.
Join us on Channel 2 Action News this morning every day, 4:30 to 7.
April showers bring May flowers, but they may also lead to water inside your home. Dave Baker here for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Extra rain could mean extra trouble for your roof. If spring has sprung inside your home, there will be signs. Look for wet spots, water streaks, or dripping water on the ceiling, drywall, chimney area, or in the attic. If that wet spot is now a dry stain, it's still a problem. So when it comes to your roof, think of Findlay first. The perfect match for any roofing issue. They've replaced over 65,000 roofs locally with high-quality roofing experience and expertise. Only Findlay offers a lifetime leak-free warranty at no additional cost. And with Findlay, manners matter. They'll treat your home like it's their own with 5-star exceptional service. Plus, Findlay offers upfront pricing, 0% financing, and a free roof analysis. Get started today at FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof. Paid for by Christian Care Ministry. Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
It's the Eric Erickson Show. Jeff Katz, happy to be pinch hitting for Eric today. This is just coming across the Christian Employers Alliance, moving to join some litigation. You hear Eric talking all the time about issues, big issues, ultimately being decided in court, right? So this is a good thing. There is a case out there, and I can't get into all the weeds because I am not a practitioner of the dark arts. That's a lawyer. Like Eric is. No. But it is about President Trump's authority, his right to appoint members of the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission and to remove members of the EEOC. Simple as that. It's a presidential prerogative. And, of course, those on the left have decided, well, he's going to be the first president ever in history that is not going to be allowed to be the president of the United States. We kind of liked the guy before him who was kind of like a potted plant that Joe Biden was. You know, set decoration. They'd pick him up, they'd move him somewhere, they'd take a couple of photos. Hopefully he didn't see the strings, and maybe he'd say something, maybe he wouldn't, but he'd get pudding, and that was the end of it. Now you have an actual human being, a real live man who's the president of the United States again, saying, yeah, we're doing things differently, kids. And so the Christian Employers Alliance says, yeah, we want to be sure that we as Christian employers are not forced to violate our deeply held religious beliefs. We don't want to be forced to pay for abortion. We are not going to pretend that an employee who's a guy is somehow a new employee who's a gal. So it will be interesting to see how that all plays out. It is all going through the court system. It's all making its way ultimately, eventually, to the Supreme Court of the United States. I know folks are concerned, right? We keep hearing, again, legacy news media people want to say, well, there's a big 5-4 majority. Maybe a 6-3. No, a 6-3 majority for conservatives on the court. And then you say, well, I don't know. I'm looking case by case. Some people are convinced, that John Roberts is really a leftist. Some people are looking at Justice Amy Coney Barrett going, man, she's gone over to the other side. Well, I can't tell you either one of those things, but I can tell you they both love process. Right? They really do. They love process. And that seems to be what their big motivating factor is for not jumping in to a lot of matters. Yeah, they're saying, hey, there's a process. We're judges. We got to wait till you check all the boxes. You've got to file all the paper, and then we'll take a look at this. Now, I just keep hoping and hoping that is really, really what's going on. I've got that posted if you want to take a look on X. Give it a follow as well. Jeff Katz Show on X. Jeff Katz Show on X. The Jeff Katz Show over on Facebook. It is Jeff Katz. Happy as always to be sitting in for Eric. This is the Eric Erickson Show.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Public visitation has now ended for the Pope. The Vatican saying 250,000 mourners pay their respects to Pope Francis over 3 days. Francis died Monday at the age of 88 from a stroke. Now leaders from around the world, including President Trump, will be in attendance for his funeral tomorrow. New this half hour, a group of protesters arrested a year ago in a clash with law enforcement on the Emory University campus want their charges dropped. It happened as the group camped out on the Emory Quad against the war in Gaza and the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center.
About half of the charges have either been dropped, dismissed, or there have been people put into these diversion programs.
But David Jones with the Atlanta Alliance says he believes all of the charges should be dropped. Emory said the protesters were on private property. The university later changed its open expression policy to prevent overnight camping and protesting. Former New York Congressman George Santos will spend over 7 years behind bars. He was sentenced today in New York in a courtroom there. Santos pleading guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft and admitted that he stole from campaign donors and lied about it to Congress. When he was sentenced, he cried. A man is in critical condition after he was hit by a vehicle following an overnight bar fight in Dunwoody. Dunwoody Police Sergeant Michael Cheek says it happened at the Bird restaurant on Ashford Dunwoody Road.
A man and a woman, who are boyfriend and girlfriend, I believe, were sitting at the bar, and a second male came up to the female and touched her, not in necessarily an assaultive way, but in a way to get her attention.
And that's when the fight broke out. Management kicked all three of them out. As the couple exited the building, the man was intentionally hit by a car. He's at Grady Hospital right now in critical but stable condition. Investigators trying to figure out who was in that car. Alarming news concerning measles today. Millions of new measles infections could happen in the U.S. if the number of vaccinations drop. That according to a new study. Researchers found that even if the U.S. maintains its current vaccination rate, the disease could become endemic again. The study is in the Journal of the American Medical Association. It's 1:32.
This is Scott Slade. Let's talk about how to improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. For me, it's preventive medicine. My doctor saw one funky number in my lab work that eventually led to a diagnosis early enough so I still had options. You just got to have a medical professional looking at you every so often, especially when we're talking about heart disease, the nation's #1 killer. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries of most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. So don't put this off, especially with this offer for virtual imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-2798.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-2798. That's 800-575-2798.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Baseball is all about stepping up to the plate when it matters most. And when you've been injured, you need a heavy hitter in your corner. At Morgan & Morgan, we don't back down. We fight to get you every dollar you deserve. No curveballs, no strikeouts, just results. That's why we've recovered over $25 billion for our clients and fight for them from offices nationwide. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Live Team Coverage Traffic and Weather brought to you by Finley Roofing. Here's Alex Williams.
Tracking some brake lights in Doorville, 285 eastbound, the inner loop from Peachtree Boulevard. Most of it trying to ramp onto I-85 northbound to make the trek up into Norcross. 75 northbound in Cobb County, on and off the brakes between Marietta and Kennesaw. And that construction continues in Midtown Buckhead area. Peachtree Road northbound at Collier. It's in the left lane, slow in that ride. If you'd like, you can use Northside Drive. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly cloudy today, high 79. Scattered rain showers and thunderstorms develop through the afternoon and evening hours.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
Today, Jeff Katz.
It's the Eric Erickson Show. Jeff Katz, happy to be pinch hitting for Eric today. I mentioned this Supreme Court ruling out of the United Kingdom where they said, yep, boys are boys, girls are girls. Next case, please. But there are folks who are standing up against. Now, first of all, there was this sort of collective temper tantrum thrown by a lot of dudes wearing dresses. And I say a lot. I think it was 20, maybe 25. And these guys were absolutely outraged. And they say, how dare those folks tell me I am not a woman? And it's like, dude, it's not just them. It's everybody saying that. And then, of course, there was this usual projection. Why, you hate me. No, I really don't. Hate is way too active, right? If you want to hate something or hate someone, that is an activity. You got to devote time and energy. I'm not devoting time or energy to hating you. I don't know you. I mean, I go down the list of things and people I hate. I hate child molesters. Yeah, I mean, I know it's a sweeping comment. It's a blanket statement. Yeah, but fundamentally, I hate you for victimizing a child. I hate people who abuse animals. I hate anybody, I guess, in the big, large, broad sense, who is victimizing someone who is not capable of defending themselves. Right? I mean, okay, so yeah, I'll give you that. Do I hate anybody individually? Not really. There's some people I don't like, but I don't like them. In fact, now I think about it, there are plenty of people I don't like, but I don't hate them. I choose, in many cases, I don't necessarily associate with them unless it's absolutely necessary, right? You can dislike people, but I don't hate you. And Lord knows I don't hate some guy in a dress in London because he's a guy in a dress in London. I just know you're not a woman, and that's okay. And you are happier, I guess, wearing that costume and makeup and telling me that you've got 82 different pronouns and some of them are on Thursdays. Yeah, I'm not going to go along with that. I don't have time. I have neither the time nor the inclination to do that, so that's not going to happen. But aside from that, the other group that is now actively standing up against this court verdict, which is nothing but common sense for all to see, is the company that runs the London Marathon. The London Marathon's executive director, some guy by the name of Hugh Brasher, said that contestants who claim that they are one gender will be able to compete against actual members of that gender. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? So biological males will, in fact, be able to compete against actual women in the general running population for the London Marathon. Wow. Supreme Court over there found, I want to tell you exactly what they said, that sexes are, in fact, defined by biology. What does it mean? It means, well, if you're a guy dressed as a gal, you're not going to be able to claim that you suffered some sort of inequality if you're not able to visit a single-sex space, such as a ladies' bathroom, a ladies' changing room, a ladies' locker room. In other words, common sense. Common sense. Do you watch The Last of Us? It's not a bad show. I'm told that it is completely and totally based on a video game. Never played the video game, but I found the show to be pretty interesting the first season. The second season is okay, and one of the main characters just got killed off the other day. But the guy who plays that character, or played that character, he is now out there attacking J.K. Rowling. Why? Because J.K. Rowling has said girls are girls, boys are boys. I don't know exactly how people pick their mission. Been trying to figure that one out for a long time. I got a couple of things that I got to let you take a listen to as we head through this little segment here. Let me just pull it. Here we go. Okay, so PBS, which definitely needs to be defunded, and I mean immediately. This, all due respect to President Trump and the administration, this should have been day one. I know, we were busy getting energy resources up and running and doing really, really, really important things, sealing the border. But okay, fine. Day two, PBS and NPR should have been defunded completely. Completely. Not a nickel for these folks. I listened to that woman who heads up, I guess it's PBS, Mar. And she said, well, you know, when you do the math, it's only $1.50 per American. Yeah, well, I got news for you, ma'am. I want my $1.50 back. And I'm pretty sure my wife wants her $1.50 back. And my kids, well, I don't know. But I want my $1.50 back. I don't want to contribute to your operation. And I would invite PBS and NPR to jump into the pool. This crazy thing we call the free market. If you have programs that people want to watch or listen to, then by God, jump in. Put them out there. Because they keep telling us about the high quality of their programming. And then every once in a while, I'll tune in. And I'm thinking, well, I obviously tuned in at the wrong time because this is crap. But she's telling me, oh, it's only $1.50 per American. You know what the number one platform is now for audio, video, podcast, for everything? It's YouTube. It's YouTube. So if, in fact, PBS and NPR believe that they have good quality products, but without this federal funding, which means taxpayer money, your money and my money, they're not going to be able to get it out to as many people, then fine, start yourself a YouTube channel there. That's all. Put it up there. People will find it if they want it. You'll be able to monetize that. I mean, assuming you have enough people watching it. And until then just double down. Sell some more of those stupid tote bags. But I want my money back. I don't want a nickel of it go into these operations. And I'm going to give you an example why. PBS conducts this, I guess they call it a news show, which is weird. But take a listen to cut number 2.
Last night, a federal judge in Maryland said the Trump administration is trying to obstruct the truth about the wrongful deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to El Salvador. The judge added the administration's refusal to answer questions about its assertion that Garcia is an MS-13 gang member, nor provide details about its contract with the Salvadoran government, quote, reflects a willful and bad faith refusal to comply with discovery obligations.
Addressing the case this week, President Trump repeatedly said he wants to bypass due process required by the Constitution in order to fulfill his migrant crackdown.
We have thousands of people that are ready to go out, and you can't have a trial for all of these people. They emptied out insane asylums into our country. We're getting them out, and a judge can't say, no, you have to have a trial. The trial's going to take 2 years.
Our White House correspondent Laura Brown Lopez joins us now for more. So, Laura, the judge has very strong words there for the Trump administration, bad faith refusal to comply.
Listen, number one, there's no constitutional requirement for these trials. And in this case, you know, the guy who has now been dubbed Maryland Man? Well, he's a Maryland Man, Jeff. Uh-huh. Any other details? No, that's all we know. He's just some dude from Maryland. A really nice guy. Really? Well, they allege he's an MS-13 gang member. Well, all you have to do, I mean, if you do care about this, and again, I would say to the PBS folks, you're pretending to be reporters. You're claiming that you're journalists. How come you didn't scratch the surface a little bit? Is it strictly your hatred of President Trump that prompts you to write things, to say things? I think it is. Because if you want to engage in the actual practice of journalism, you would go back just a little bit and you would see that when, quote, Maryland Man broke into the United States, he said he was coming here to flee gang violence. Well, that sounds bad. But what you don't bother to note is that the gang violence of which he spoke was being perpetrated by one gang against the gang he's a member of. So this was not a member of the general public who was saying, you know, if I go to the grocery store, these gangbangers are out there and there's terrible violence. No, this was a gangbanger saying there were other gangbangers in a different gang wanting to kill him. Not my problem. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But let's move past that. Then you have multiple occasions where they confirm he's an MS-13 gang member. They get him a couple of years back, remember this, in a car that's owned by a human trafficker. His wife is on record claiming that he was violent and abusive towards her. Oh, I almost forgot this. Not once but twice he was ordered deported, and he was under what is called a final order of removal. What does that mean? Get out! Get out now! And in fact, we're going to help you get out. In fact, we're going to pick your sorry behind up and get you out of here. And for those folks who are saying, well, you know, he's far away from home. No, not really. He's exactly at home. He is a citizen of El Salvador. He is a native of El Salvador, and he is once again in El Salvador. I for the life of me, don't see exactly what the problem is, unless, of course, as we talked about a while ago, your party, your ideology, your group has just run out of good things to talk about. And I think that's where the left is. I really do. I think that's where the progressives are. I can see that's where the Democrats are. They don't have anything valid to say about anything that's truly important. They don't want to tell you, here's an idea that I think would work really well for something. All they want to tell you is that they hate Trump and therefore, and they just insert whatever it is that they're saying or doing. But you're standing with the very worst of the worst. You're standing with violent thugs. You're engaging in behavior to help violent criminal thugs. Why? You are standing with the most vicious, vile anti-Semites anywhere. You're standing with people who are supporting Hamas and MS-13 and other terrorist operations. I don't know exactly when you guys crossed that Rubicon, but you don't have anybody on your side right now that resonates with anybody who's living here on planet Earth. And you've doubled down on some of the craziness as well. Instead of saying, let's have a strong military, instead of supporting members of the military, standing up for a strong national defense policy, you're saying, hey, we need more transgender members of the military. Doesn't make any sense. The military is not a social science experiment. It's not what it is. Once again, you project hatred. You claim that everybody who disagrees with you is somehow hateful and a hater. I'm here to tell you, we're not. We just aren't. All right, couple of things that you should probably pay attention to. I would urge you, and I mean in the strongest possible terms, hop online. Make sure you are signed up for Eric's Daily Brief. It is so valuable, filled with really every piece of information that you could possibly need or want during the course of a day. And then when you think, okay, I've digested most of it, and there's another one, and Eric doesn't miss a day. And the very cool thing, at least for me, is that he sometimes going to throw recipes in there, which I think is great. In addition to that, you're going to be online anyway. Would you do me a favor? Head over to X. We're trying to turn some numbers there. And follow Jeff Katz Show on X. Jeff Katz Show on X. And what the heck, since you're there anyway, you can follow The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook, The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook. It is Jeff in for Eric. This is The Eric Erickson Show.
Americans for Prosperity would love to get you involved in fighting to advance common sense reforms around the country. They're the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They're conservatives, and they fight for common sense conservative reforms. They fought for school choice across the country. They have fought for lower taxes. They fought for the REINS Act, which reins in the bureaucracies at the state and federal level. They're active even down to the local level. They train you up as an activist. They give you all the facts and figures you need to make persuasive arguments. They teach you how to knock on your neighbor's door if you want to do that, or go to your local or state government, or even reach out to Congress to be effective. And right now, they want to mobilize people across the country to advance the president's tax cuts. You can find out more at AmericansForProsperity.org. I'm on their board of advisors. They are one of the very few conservative groups out there that hasn't gone wobbly over the years. They're uncompromising in common sense conservatism. Reach out to them, AmericansForProsperity.org. Sign up with AFP today. Become a door knocker. Become an activist. Just become more informed. AmericansForProsperity.org.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
151 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center picked up a crash in Marietta. It's taking out the left lane, 75 southbound North Marietta Parkway, exit 265. So there's some delays there between Kennesaw and Marietta. Downtown, watching the brake lights continue to fill in southbound from the 85-400 merge as you make your way down to 75-85, trying to pass 17th Street. Construction continues Peachtree Road northbound at Collier in the right lane, and they've been flashing all day, these traffic lights, and they continue flashing red. Cheshire Bridge Road at La Vista Road, treat that as a four-way stop. Traffic brought to you by Lear Capital. Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at BetterNestEgg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The Pope lies in state.
The pageantry that we're seeing, it is scaled down for a Pope.
The world prepares to say goodbye.
The Pope is a global figure. He's certainly for Catholics. He's our father.
And the Vatican prepares for the next Pope.
The conclave, which will nominate a new Pope.
The funeral of Pope Francis.
Pope Francis died Monday after suffering a stroke.
Live coverage begins tomorrow morning at 4 a.m.
He focused on simplicity.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they promising you up to 10% growth per year guaranteed for your retirement income? If not, you need a new financial advisor. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hard-working folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 up front or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't work when you're supposed to be retired. And if any financial advisor tells you it's too good to be true, they simply don't have the options we do. Call Trajan today at 404-390-4000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months. And ask how to get free installation on qualifying bundles. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment and paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
You still want a new deck on your house, but you think you may have missed a deck building window? Well, you're wrong. Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations, my deck experts. What makes them my experts? Well, for starters, when you have Ben Hill Renovations upgrading your outdoor living space, you're dealing with professionals. You have a company building to code, current and future. You have a company pulling permits when needed, with a dedicated project manager for every job, superior craftsmanship from over 60-plus years of experience, and all backed by their workmanship warranty. Whether you want a screened-in porch, an outdoor living area, a multi-story wraparound deck, or just a simple deck with a set of stairs, Ben Hill Renovations has you covered. Plus, they offer multiple financing options, up to 18 months, no interest with affordable monthly payments. Check out their new website at bhrenovations.com and set up an appointment, or visit their showroom and speak with a designer. You won't be disappointed. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
It is the Eric Erickson Show. Jeff Katz, very, very happy to be sitting in for Eric today. Lots of stuff that you and I are trying to plow our way through. I will be able to give you a full report the next time that I'm asked to pinch hit for Eric on what it was like being at the White House for a little bit. I'm headed up there in a couple of days, and I'm looking forward to it. I really, honest to goodness, I'm looking forward to it. I've done some of these things throughout the years. I know we just about every one of us has, but this just feels very different. What I have found from President Trump and certainly from his team is that they are all about speaking with real people, which is part of the reason that so many in that hackerama hate him. You know, the self-proclaimed serious journalists and real reporter. Oh my God, he's talking to talk show hosts. He's talking to regular people. That's not good. Well, you're right. It's not good. It's great. It's absolutely great. So the fact that he and his team are willing to do that, to me, just speaks volumes. We were talking a little bit about the silliness of some of these guys pretending to be gals, but there's not just silliness. There's real danger. If you look at one story in particular, there's a mom who was talking about being at a local YMCA in Kansas City a little bit earlier this month. She was in the ladies' locker room with her 7-year-old daughter. The mom said that she and her daughter had just finished swimming lessons, said there were hundreds of children present. They had entered the ladies' locker room to change from their swimsuits into their regular street clothing. Said that she heard a man's voice as she and her daughter were leaving a stall. And guess what? There was a guy standing there showing everybody that he was a guy. You know what I mean? And the mother and the daughter said, "Oh, my God." And the mom said, "Wait a minute, you're not supposed to be in here. This is only for women." And the guy replied, quote, "Honey, I'm a woman," end quote. Wow. Well, there's a little evidence here that would indicate that is not true. I have the story, not the photos, at X, Jeff Katz Show. Give that a follow over there, would you please? Jeff in for Eric. This is the Eric Erickson Show.
Hey, it's Belinda for the board-certified plastic surgeons at Marietta Plastic Surgery. I've trusted their team for years. Doctors West, McNeil, Hanna, and Biswas have been serving the Atlanta area for over 25 years with expert surgical and non-surgical care. With warmer weather on the way, are you summer ready? Marietta Plastic Surgery is here to help you look and feel your best. They now offer Awake Liposuction, a less invasive way to sculpt your body with less downtime. And their med spa still has all your go-to treatments like Botox and fillers, microneedling, Diamond Glow, hydrofacials, and Morpheus 8 for radiant, glowing skin. Looking to restore thinning hair or reshape your hairline? Marietta Plastic Surgery is the only practice in the region that offers the gold standard in hair restoration, the Foundation Aesthetic Hair Restoration Method. Visit MariettaPlasticSurgery.com to schedule your consultation today.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Calls for justice today, 1 year after protesters were arrested on the campus of Emory University.
The protesters camped out on the Emory Quad against the war in Gaza and the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. But a few hours in, law enforcement moved in and arrested 28 people, saying they were on private property. Activists like David Jones say they haven't forgotten.
We came out in solidarity to demand that the DeKalb County Solicitor General, Donna Coleman Scribbling, drop the charges on all of those who were arrested that day.
So far, about half of the group have had their charges dropped. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
78 degrees in Atlanta. Watching for more scattered showers this afternoon. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. This just in. Thousands of terminated student visas are restored by the Justice Department. The announcement comes in federal court today. The students who had their visas revoked had minor charges and dismissed cases come up in criminal history checks. This does not end a case filed in Atlanta federal court involving 133 students, including 26 from Georgia, but the status of these students has been restored. Cuts to the Atlanta-based CDC are top of mind as Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff is grilled by constituents during a town hall in Marietta today. Ossoff blasts the layoffs.
So foolish, so short-sighted, so without any rational policy justification that every single Georgian, and by the way, that includes the governor of Georgia, should oppose it.
Ossoff is up for re-election next November. Governor Kemp is considering a run. New this hour, Atlanta police on the lookout for two suspects wanted in a double shooting last week that left one man dead and another critically injured. The shootings happened last Friday on Newcastle Street. Police released new surveillance video today that shows three men going into a home. Two of them are believed to have been involved in the shooting. A 33-year-old man died. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers, and you could be eligible for a $5,000 reward. 3 days of public viewing for Pope Francis is now over. More than 250,000 paid their respects. The funeral is tomorrow. Correspondent Terry Moran reports on the process of selecting the new pope.
The cardinals in the Sistine Chapel voting 4 times a day, twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon, until they choose the next pope. And when they do, we'll see that white smoke coming up from the chimney, a sign that a successor to Francis has been chosen.
It is now 2:02. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing.
This is Scott Slade. Let's talk about how to improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. For me, it's preventive medicine. My doctor saw one funky number in my lab work that eventually led to a diagnosis early enough so I still had options. You just got to have a medical professional looking at you every so often, especially when we're talking about heart disease, the nation's #1 killer. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. So don't put this off, especially with this offer for virtual imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. It's hard to imagine, but one day in retirement, your income will stop. You may have been working for 30 or 40 years, but now you'll have to depend on the money you've saved for the next 30 years. How do you know if you've saved enough? What does it mean to spend confidently in retirement? One of the worst things that you can do is get to retirement and not know how much income your investments can produce. At Nicholas Wealth, we created a plan that will show you what your investments can potentially generate in dividends, interest, and growth in retirement. We call this our Spend Confidently plan. When's the best time to turn on Social Security? What are some of the best dividend-paying stocks available? Our CPAs and CFPs will show you what your income number is and how a diversified portfolio of income-producing investments could potentially provide you consistent monthly income. Our Retire Ready Income Report is a $1,000 value. We'll provide it completely complimentary if you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement and you give us a call in the next 10 minutes. Number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
At 2:05, Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center.
Better news in Marietta. Crash was in the left lane. They held all lanes. Now it's on the right shoulder. Everything is back open. 75 southbound North Marietta Parkway. Exit number 265. Crash also just cleared, leaving Sandy Springs, heading to Cobb County. 285 westbound, the outer loop, Northside Drive, Powers Ferry Road, exit number 22. And heading into downtown, we're watching the Friday volume heading southbound from the 85-400 merge. You'll stay on and off the brakes through Midtown and downtown, passing Cortlandt Street. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly cloudy today. Scattered rain showers and thunderstorms through the late afternoon and evening hours. High 79. Lows tonight in the low 60s. Tomorrow drying out, though still partly to mostly cloudy. High 82. Partly cloudy on Sunday. Morning low 61. Afternoon high 83.
76 in Hampton, 75 Lawrenceville, 78 in Cartersville. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is Bills. BILLS. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is Bills. BILLS. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Today on The Eric Erickson Show, he's an ex-cop, member of the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Talkers Magazine Humanitarian of the Year, and a 30-year talk radio veteran. Filling in for Eric today, Jeff Katz.
It is Jeff Katz. Happy to be sitting in for Eric Erickson today. There are some big pieces of news, and there's a major situation that we all need to be aware of, and I want to share it with you. No, it's not even the George Santos thing. Remember, George Santos was a congressman for a couple of minutes, and now he's going to be a guest of the federal government for 7 years. Apparently, there was a fair amount of fraud involved in his operation. But anyway, no, the bigger story is actually the arrest of a judge out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, this is a left-wing judge. She is I don't know. I guess it depends where you happen to be in the country, what you might call this level of judge. I would say my law enforcement experience was back in Philadelphia and surrounding parts of it. We would have called this either, like in Philadelphia, it would have been the municipal court, and then if you were in the suburbs and some other areas, it would have been a district justice court. So not a high level. I mean, it's not a member of the Wisconsin Supreme Court or the Court of Appeals, but a judge nonetheless. And this is apparently now, the second judge that has faced charges. What happened, if you remember, probably, I think we probably all don't, right? Back in 2019, there was a judge in Massachusetts, Shelley M. Richmond Joseph. And Judge Richmond Joseph was charged with obstruction of justice after she helped an illegal alien avoid ICE agents in the building. and she was suspended for 3 years. But in 2022, the Biden administration dropped those charges. Well, that's not going to be happening this time, kids. Judge Hannah Dugan of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, helped an illegal alien escape arrest. And as a result, FBI Director Kash Patel has announced that she has been arrested. We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse. Eduardo Flores Ruiz, allowing the subject, an illegal alien, to evade arrest. Wow. Wow. Interesting. Sources tell the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that ICE officials arrived in Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom on the morning of April the 18th. When they went to the chief judge's office, Dugan directed the defendant and his attorney to a side door in the courtroom, directed them down a private hallway, and then finally into the public area on the 6th floor. She is, here it is, circuit court judge in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She is assigned to handle mostly misdemeanor cases, but before she was a judge, she was an activist. She was an activist in far left-wing, pro-illegal alien organizations. 65 years of age, she graduated from the University of Wisconsin Law School in 1987. Since then, she has spent a large portion of her career with legal aid organizations. She was elected in 2016 to Branch 31 of the Circuit Court for Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. We have to arrest more judges. I know. Look, I hate to say that, too. I really do. I don't want us setting up a system where a judge rules and then the judge has to be in fear that they are going to be arrested. However, when you have judges, be they at this local level or at the federal level, the district level, and they are doing things that are counter to the rule of law, well, they have to be held accountable. You can't tell me that just because you're a judge, that you're allowed to aid a criminal in the furtherance of a crime. No, you're not allowed to do that. And you have to be held accountable for that. Anybody else would have been arrested as well. Anybody else would be facing prosecution. And so she is simply getting exactly what everybody else gets in those situations. That's good stuff. Well, you just hate her. I don't even know who she is. I had to go look up, make sure I was pronouncing her name properly. I don't hate her. I don't live in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. But I understand the way the legal system works. I understand that you can't just go out and break the law. And she is supposed to be sitting in judgment of those who have broken the law. She especially cannot go out and break the law. You can't go out in the courtroom and break the law. Let me tell you something. If somebody would have stood up in her courtroom, Branch 31 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and said, Your Honor, I want to hurt you. You think she would have sat back and said, well, look, why don't you take the secret passage over there? No, I'm not going to. There's no worries. What if you were a defendant in her courtroom? Branch 31, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, and you stood up and you jumped at her. You think she would order the deputy sheriffs or the bailiffs, the court officers in that courtroom to say, no, just take him out through the secret passageway. Show him the private hallway so he doesn't have to face charges. Heck no. He'd be cuffed and stuffed. You take my word on that. So here she is. I know she's looking all fancy in her black robe. She may or may not still be wearing a face mask because, she's one of the crazy people. But you're not allowed to break the law. So good for Kash Patel. I've heard some of my fellow conservatives, and this bugs me. So I'm just going to get this off my chest. Off my chest. If you are someone who cares about the FBI, then stand up and support them. Don't trash them. Don't tell me that they need to be dismantled and this, that. No. The FBI, whether you believe it or not, whether you understand it or not, is an absolutely treasured federal organization. And every single one of those BRIC agents, there are only, 13,000 FBI agents across the country and around the world. Every single one of those BRIC agents is out there every single day breaking their rear end to do exactly the right thing, to keep you safe, to keep me safe. And we need to stand with them. So I personally have been thoroughly disgusted hearing some of my alleged so-called fellow conservatives say, break them up and do this. No. And I'm very happy to see Kash Patel out in front of this. I don't think he's been all that visible. I don't think Dan Bongino has been all that visible. Now, maybe that's good. Maybe they're really, they've rolled up their sleeves and they're getting down to all of the nitty-gritty inside the Bureau, cleaning out that 7th floor in D.C. and doing right by the BRIC agents. That's important stuff. I know that I talked about the anti-Semites a few moments ago. I talked about some of the truly vicious anti-Semites. The folks who are outside of Columbia University, Harvard University, inside Harvard and Columbia. I wish there were an honest appraisal of that situation, but I want to give you an example here. This is NBC Nightly News. Now, you tell me as you listen to this from NBC Nightly News, is this a news report? Or is this a PR activity, like a crisis communications exercise on behalf of Harvard? Cut number 3.
Meanwhile, the Trump administration continues its push to reshape higher education, with President Trump signing an executive order making changes to the university accreditation bodies and another calling for a review of colleges' financial ties with foreign donors. It comes as the Harvard University president is speaking out for the first time since the school sued the federal government. Did you have to take a deep breath before you agreed to file a lawsuit? That's a big step, especially given who you're suing.
It is a big step, and it was more than one deep breath.
That was a tough one.
It was tough.
Harvard President Alan Gerber on campus today reflecting on the university's showdown with the Trump administration over its demands that the school accept government-ordered changes. Harvard accusing the administration of illegally withholding $2.2 billion in federal funding as a form of leverage. Among the list of the federal government demands, eliminate DEI programs, make broad changes to admissions and hiring practices. At the center of it all, allegations anti-Semitism on campus went unchecked.
I know that, what's-his-face there, Lester Holt, is leaving. My only thought is he really can't leave quickly enough, but, it's the national nightly news, so who's left watching? Do you watch it? I don't know anybody. The last person I knew that actually tuned into the so-called Big Three networks at night was my mom, and she was in her 80s before she passed. She got the printed newspaper, Sun Sentinel, down there in South Florida, and they cut back. I think they were publishing like 2 days a week or 3 days a week, and she would call me, say, "Hey, I read this article. I don't know if I have to tell you about something." And she'd read me an article. It's like, oh, okay. Well, isn't that something? Yeah. Mom, I I knew about that 4 days ago. Okay, all right. I was just saying, Jeff, just saying. He said, oh, I gotta go and I have to watch the news. Do you watch, what, do you want to sit and watch? I said, no, I love you. And I want to help you and do for you, but I'm not going to subject myself to that if I don't have to. So that was really nothing more than a PR event held on the NBC Nightly News for Harvard. Of course, painting Harvard in the positive light and the Trump administration in the negative light. But you know what's fascinating to me is they talk about how they're, quote, illegally withholding funding. Listen, funding comes with terms. Funding has always come with terms. There's nobody just handing you money. Maybe your uncle, your Uncle Henry says, hey, come here, kid, I got $20 for you. Hey, all right, maybe he's just handing it to you. But nobody else is. Everybody else says there's some terms that come with this. It's always been that way for the federal government. Anybody remember the age for alcohol consumption? Anybody remember when that became a national thing as a result of pressure on highway funds? Same thing on the blood alcohol content. Remember when that was lowered? Everybody lowered it. Why? Because the federal government said if you don't lower it, we're not giving you federal funds. There's nothing new under the sun. And this is another example of nothing new under the sun, especially for NBC News acting like they work for Harvard University. A couple of things that you need to remember. Number one, if you're online, and you should be online unless you're driving, please make sure that you sign up for Eric's newsletter. It is vital. Every single day it comes out. It's filled with every piece of information, every story that you need to know about. So do that. And while you're online, I'd appreciate a little help. I'm always trying to grow that social media presence. I think it's important. If you would follow Jeff Katz Show on X, I'd appreciate it. Jeff Katz Show on X. If you'd follow or like, whichever option they give you, The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook, The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook, I would appreciate that. Oh, and if you want to send me a message, you can obviously do it on X, Jeff Katz Show, Facebook, The Jeff Katz Show, or you can go to the website, thejeffkatzshow.com, and there's a button there to send an email, thejeffkatzshow.com. It is Jeff in for Eric. This is the Eric Erickson Show.
If you go to EdenPureDeals.com today and you put in the discount code EricBogo, that's ERICKBOGO, you can get an Eden Pure Thunderstorm, and then you get one for free. You buy one, you get one for free. That's the BOGO. They're an air purifier, so they get rid of dust, pollen, pet dander, all that. They also get rid of 99.9% of bacteria and viruses that flow through them because they generate plasma. Then they generate ozone that touches the ionized particles you and I know as odors and wipes them out. Keep one in my travel bag. I've got one with me. Any stinky odor, cigar odor, cigarette odors, any smoke odor, litter box odor, dirty diaper odor, frying odor, musty odor, mildewy odor, it doesn't matter. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm will wipe it out. No odor can stand up to it. And because it's an air purifier and it's filterless, you don't have to get a filter subscription. So you go to EdenPureDeals.com, put in Eric Bogo, ERICKBOGO. You buy one, you get one free. You buy 10, you get 10 free. Buy two, get two free. Whatever you need. EdenPureDeals.com, the discount code Eric Bogo, ERICKBOGO.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
222, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Picked up a stalled tractor trailer here on the West Freeway on the Jam Cam, 20 westbound, just past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. That sits in the second right lane, starting to slow things back toward I-285. If you're traveling 85 south in Gwinnett County, they just cleared a stall in Duluth at Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104. Northbound starting to pick up the volume, though, as you leave 285 for the afternoon, heading up toward Norcross and Jimmy Carter Boulevard. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Find fresh organics at Whole Foods Market. Get 16-ounce containers of organic strawberries for $3.99 each with Prime through April 29th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is bills. BILLS. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is bills. BILLS. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is Scott Slade. Let's talk about how to improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. For me, it's preventive medicine. My doctor saw one funky number in my lab work that eventually led to a diagnosis early enough so I still had options. You just got to have a medical professional looking at you every so often, especially when we're talking about heart disease, the nation's #1 killer. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from virtual imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on Heritage Farm bone-in split chicken breast. On sale now for only $1.79 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
For many of you, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing, and maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I got good news. It's Advanced Hair's incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's Mark Aaron back with you. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what about regrowing your hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class physicians, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I've seen their results, friends. For your free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts, call 470-660-HAIR. That's 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
It is the Erick Erickson Show. I promise I'm doing my best to fulfill that mission. Jeff Katz, happy to be sitting in for Eric today. There is a plea that has been entered now by that Luigi Mangione. He's the guy who was charged with murdering the United Healthcare CEO. Remember that? Leaving his wife a widow, leaving his children fatherless. And so many of the insane people on the left have flocked to him. like he's a rock star. I mean, it's really just disgusting. But he has entered a not guilty plea to the federal charges, and the Department of Justice is pursuing the death penalty, just FYI. If in fact he is found guilty, well, that would certainly make sense, wouldn't it? That would certainly be appropriate. I don't know. I don't sit in judgment here. I'm not part of the jury, or I'm certainly not the judge or anything else, but it is going to be an interesting case to watch. And I wonder if the leftists who have in fact decided that he's now some sort of a folk hero are in fact going to be standing with him throughout the entire process. Are they going to have some sort of legal defense fund? Are they going to be doing telethons and fundraisers? Or at some point, will they look at this and say, okay, he's guilty. Assuming he's found guilty, then what? Do they double down or do they double track? I don't know. We'll continue to follow that, of course. Jeff Katz, I must tell you, always happy to sit in for my friend Eric. Thanks, as always, for listening to the Eric Erickson Show.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. A decision today impacts thousands of international students who had their visas revoked. The Justice Department restoring the status of those students. They had their visas revoked after minor charges and dismissed cases came up in criminal history checks. This does not, though, end a case filed in Atlanta federal court involving 133 students, including 26 from Georgia. But the status of those students has been restored. 1 year after protests erupted on the campus of Emory University, a group of protesters arrested want their charges dropped. David Jones with the Atlanta Alliance says these people are still feeling the impact of their arrests.
These are people trying to start families. These are students trying to start their careers with these charges pending over their heads.
It happened as the group camped out on the Emory Quad against the war in Gaza and the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. Emory says the protesters were on private property. Dunwoody police are searching for a driver who they say intentionally ran over a man outside the Bird restaurant on Ashford Dunwoody Road early this morning. Sergeant Michael Cheek says a fight broke out in the bar between a couple and another man. All three were kicked out.
As that gentleman and his girlfriend were leaving the restaurant, as soon as they stepped into the parking lot, a vehicle drove and willfully struck the male, causing him serious injuries.
The victim's at Grady in critical but stable condition. A search is underway for the person who hit him. Luigi Mangione pleads not guilty to federal charges in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. The 26-year-old was arraigned today on charges of stalking, a firearms offense, and murder with a firearm. Federal prosecutors say they plan to seek the death penalty. It is now 2:32. This news sponsored by Bread Beckers.
You still want a new deck on your house, but you think you may have missed a deck building window? Well, you're wrong. Dave Baker here. At Ben Hill Renovations, deck building goes on year-round. Whether your existing deck is old, rotting, and unsafe, or you just want to upgrade your outdoor living space, now is the perfect time to get the ball rolling. Check out their new website at bhrenovations.com. Better yet, go to their showroom, speak with the designer, and see all that they have to offer up close. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964.
Listen up, because women have long waited for the world to recognize the importance of our health.
Northside Hospital goes beyond "we hear you" to "we're out here with you," because women deserve more than open ears.
They deserve open doors, and 1 ounce of action is worth 1,000 words.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work for you.
This is a house call. Heard. Learn more at northside.com/heard.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-2798.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-2798. That's 800-575-2798.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's the NRA Annual Meetings and Exhibits at the World Congress Center, April 25th to 27th. 14 acres of guns and gear. A freedom-filled weekend with activities for the entire family. Tickets just $10. NRA members get in free. Visit NRAtickets.com.
Hi, it's Tim Andrews for My Roofer FGA Roofing. Are you considering a new roof but not sure when you'll be able to get it in the budget? FGA Roofing is offering a 000 offer this month. 0 down payment, 0 interest for 12 months, and 0 monthly payments. Search FGA Roofing for a free quote today.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Still got this stalled big rig on the West Freeway, 20 westbound past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. That has been blocking the second right lane. And looks like new trouble 20 eastbound approaching the west side perimeter. 285 exit 51. You're stacking up back toward Thornton Road. We're scanning the jam cam for that. 285 east and southbound, the inner loop into DeKalb County, really starting to slow now from Peachtree Boulevard past I-85 down into Clarkston. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Watching for more scattered showers and storms this afternoon. Right now, 78 in Dallas, 79 in Conyers, and 79 in East Point. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Filling in for Eric today, Jeff Katz.
Guess what? I'm Jeff Katz, and I am indeed filling in for Eric. Very happy to be doing that. Again, a plea now entered by that accused murderer, that Luigi Mangione. He's charged with a capital murder, if you will, a death penalty offense. The Department of Justice is, in fact, pursuing the death penalty against him. And we'll see what happens. Also, coming from a federal court, George Santos, who was a member of Congress for a short period of time, he has been sentenced to 7 years plus in federal prison. The reports are that he just broke down and sobbed uncontrollably in the courtroom. Well, it is that old legal dictum. I think this is taught in that first year of law school, isn't it? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And apparently, according to the charges, I mean, this guy had just been not just lying to people, right? Because if you think about it, so many of us, sadly, are at a point in our lives where we would not be the least bit shocked if somebody said, well, you know, some politician lied. You go, you know, you did say they were a politician, right? Yeah. No, this was not just your usual, I won't vote for, oh, really? Oh, okay, I am voting for sort of a lie. This was, hey, give me that, give me this, and I'm out. I mean, he did a lot of that whole peace out stuff, didn't he? He was gone, and now he's going to pay the price for it. I think it's just that simple. But more than 7 years in federal prison for that. So we'll see if we get any further details. I did mention to you that I do favors for people, or at least I like to think I do favors for people. One of the things that I find myself doing, I will watch certain things, I will listen to certain things, I will read certain things so that other people do not have to damage their eyeballs by engaging in such activity or hurt their ears by listening to it. And today is one of those days. I'm taking a look at Schmuck Schumer. Now, you remember Schmuck Schumer? The leader of the Democrats in the U.S. Senate, senator from New York, although he may not be for long. The lady with the crazy eyes, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is apparently being pushed to challenge Schumer in a Democrat Party primary up there. Could you imagine her in the Senate? Well, I'm sure you could. I mean, really, it's just, it would be more of the same from her. It wouldn't be anything new. She would just have a new stage, but she'd have sort of a tag team partner with that wacko from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, right? Those two would get together and absolutely be on the same page. But anyway, I digress. So Schumer is making an appearance, and where was he on MSNBC? I don't know, one of these places, wherever he was. And I promise I'm not going to make you listen to all of it, but you do have to hear part of it because I did watch it so that you didn't have to. Cut number 5.
I want to ask you about something you told my colleague Chris Hayes last month. I'm quoting you here. We will all have to take extraordinary action if the president doesn't obey the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said the administration must facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. That has not happened. Are we at the point, Senator, where you feel extraordinary action is warranted?
Look, the case will be back to the Supreme Court. They sent it down to the lower court judge. But if the president disobeys a Supreme Court order, extraordinary action will be necessary. And we've never had that in the Republic before in the kind of way that the president is doing it. And again, he doesn't believe in democracy. He doesn't believe there should be diversity of opinion. He doesn't believe in due process. You can't pick up someone off the streets and send them somewhere if you don't have if you haven't presented evidence against them. The country, the democracy is at risk.
What would trigger that, and what would it be, Senator? What would trigger it, and what would that be?
Well, it would be, look, first, it would be if the Supreme Court makes a final decision and Trump decides to disobey it, and it will be on all of us. Not just the political leaders, but certainly us, but on all Americans to resist that. And I think that would happen. Public opinion means everything here. And when the public learns more and more about what Trump is doing, whether it's on economics and tariffs to the universities or upcoming in this situation, I think the public's going to be outraged.
Yeah, you keep thinking that, dude. No, I mean, really, please keep thinking that. Because it is allowing you to lead your party further and further and further off the cliff. Far be it for me to get in front of you while you're driving the clown car over the edge. You go right ahead. And you know what? He's actually right on one thing. That doesn't happen that often, but I'm going to agree. He's right on one thing. Public perception is important in this one. And you know what the public feelings are? The public feelings are that we like the fact that this president cares. That this president is doing everything possible, not only to make America great again, but to make America safe again, to make America healthy again. So I'm all on board with this. And Donald Trump, the people who work directly for President Trump, they're not going out just yanking people off the street. I love how he says that. Don't you think if they were going to yank somebody off the street, maybe they'd yank him off the street? That's not what they're doing. They're focused on criminals. You'll notice that the border is closed. Anybody else notice that? That we once again see a safe, secure, sealed border? Why is that? Because this president said, I care. Because I heard the American people say, I don't want the human traffickers running the border. I don't want them bringing little girls in and subjecting them to a life of abuse and forced sexual abuse and the rest of it. Oh, and I don't want the drug cartels running massive amounts of fentanyl and other illegal substances into the United States. So, yeah, we're going to shut it down. That was it. That's all it took. Let Schumer continue to delude himself. I mentioned Make America Healthy Again. The Secretary of Health and Human Services, Bobby Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., stood up the other day and said, we're going to be banning some of these food dyes. And he went down the list, and there are things like orange 123 and blue 978. It's chemistry. I don't do chemistry, but he said these are food dyes that are petroleum based. And then he said the one thing I think we can all agree on: nobody wants to be eating petroleum. I mean, that's not a conservative or liberal thing, is it? Is that Democrat or Republican? I don't know about you. I never went to the gas station or the service repair shop and, 10W40. That must be tasty. Although, of course, it is summer. I think the 5W30 would go a little better with dinner, don't you? No! Who wants to be consuming petroleum products? Nobody. Nobody in their right mind, anyway. And so Bobby Kennedy says, yeah, we're going to take the step and get rid of it. And it's just going to be a thing of the past. People always ask, well, what about the food we're eating? You know, we long ago, seemingly, gave up on family farms and we went to this big corporate agriculture, big agra. There's all sorts of chemistry involved. No, not all the chemistry is bad. Let me be clear on that. But I personally am much more in favor of consuming items that are grown down the street on that farm than bringing something in from somebody's chemistry lab. That's just me. So I like the idea that we're looking at that. I like the idea that we are saying to farmers, let's get you out there growing stuff. Let's not necessarily be beholden to the gigantic agricultural business sector. I think that's good. There's another part of this. Big part of it, if you think about it. People ask, aren't we eating the same food? Right? I mean, if you're eating, you're eating Lucky Charms. I mean, I ate Lucky Charms 20 years ago as a kid, or 40 years ago as a kid, or whatever. I mean, I'm just giving the same thing to my grandkids or my kids. No, actually, you're not. Take a look at labels these days. The ingredients in food products have changed so much throughout the last 20 or 30 years. It's just mind-boggling. Where most labels in the past had a couple of ingredients, and they were pretty clear. This has milk, and it has sugar, and it has, I don't know, more milk, whatever it is. But they're very simple ingredients. I could understand them. Now you pick up a package of something, and again, unless you're a chemist, you don't know what half the stuff is. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, it's just cheese, except it's not really cheese. Sometimes the advertising is real, right? Well, a cheese food. What does that mean? Well, it means in addition to that little bit of milk and whatever other magic potion they throw in there to turn milk into cheese, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that helps stuff stay, well, shelf stable, as an example. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but how many preservatives are the right amount of preservatives? I don't know. But there are other things that have been done that say, well, it's a heck of a lot easier and cheaper. And this is always the portion of it that people get concerned with, but it is part of the profit motive. It's cheaper for us to manufacture a cheese food than it is to pay farmers to produce cheese and buy it from them. I'm concerned about that. I'll tell you the other thing that I'm concerned about is the revolving door that has existed for so long between the gigantic pharmaceutical operations and the FDA. You might not be aware of it, and that's okay, but I'm here to tell you that for a long time now, people have gone from one big pharmaceutical company, you pick any one you want, and then they go and they get hired by the FDA. And they're over at the FDA for a couple of years, and then they leave the FDA, and they go to another big pharmaceutical concern. Now, it's not because they are great developers of medicine. It's that they are high-level bureaucrats and executives from big pharma, for the most place, who go to the FDA and then sit in judgment of big pharma and say, oh, yeah, we can approve all this stuff. This is all great. Yeah, let's bring everything to market tomorrow. And it works in the opposite direction. The folks who start out at the FDA, many of them go into it for the right reasons. Well, I want to keep America safe when it comes to the medical development and the pharmaceutical side of things. And then they get there and they work there for a couple of years, and then a big pharma operation comes along and says, hey, we will give you 10 times what you're being paid at the FDA. Want to come work over here? Yeah. All I got to do is change my business cards. Now they're pitching to their friends who are still at the FDA. And every couple of years, it's kind of like a tag team match. They tag in, they tag out. But it's a big revolving door, and that is another thing that Bobby Kennedy has put at the top of the list as he calls to make America healthy again. And I don't know that it falls neatly, any of that stuff falls neatly into a liberal or conservative category. But I will tell you this, that for years, people who were more honest on the liberal side, on the Democrat Party side, they were in favor of exactly these things. Exactly. They were the ones calling for these things. There were plenty of big business Republicans saying, no, 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 no. Now, this president, who certainly is a businessman and certainly is friends with and concerned with other business owners, is saying, well, we got to take care of the American people. And part of the way we take care of the American people is to put another disruptor in, right? Donald Trump is nothing if he is not a disruptor. And Bobby Kennedy is clearly a disruptor in that role at Health and Human Services. But now, the very Democrats who were calling for this sort of reform, this sort of change in the past, now they're standing on their little soapboxes, screaming and yelling and hollering and pouting and attacking Bobby Kennedy and attacking President Trump for doing many of the things that they themselves had called for years. If that doesn't expose the ugly hypocrisy of where we are with so much of the political operations in America, honest to goodness, I don't know what does. I've got the video of Bobby Kennedy. This was the other day where he made this little presentation, but it's well worth watching, and you can do it. I've got it right now on Facebook. If you go to Facebook, and I'd ask you to like and follow the page, The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook, The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook. Over on X, Jeff Katz Show. Same thing. If you don't mind, give that a follow, Jeff Katz Show. And if you would like to stay in touch, you can hit me up either one of those ways, Jeff Katz Show on X, The Jeff Katz Show on Facebook, or you go to thejeffkatzshow.com and you can click the button there. There's an email button, thejeffkatzshow.com. It is Jeff Katz in for Eric. This is the Eric Erickson Show.
I love Hillsdale College. It's in southern Michigan. It's a conservative institution. It has stood up to the government. It doesn't take a penny of federal money. The students there have great scholarships. It's just a fantastic institution.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
You have a great opportunity to take one of 40 classes from Hillsdale College. You can take as many as you want completely for free at ericforhillsdale.com.
251 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory in DeKalb, car fire, 285 northbound. The outer loop, Covington Highway, exit 43. Just a left lane is open. Really slow in both ways, but northbound already jammed up before I-20. Make your way into downtown. You can use 75, 85 northbound as an alternate, but you will see some delays there as well. 20 westbound, stalled Big Rig on the west side past Riverside Parkway, exit 46, moved off to the right shoulder. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off, and for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
World leaders head to Rome.
President Trump plans to attend the funeral for the Pope.
The Pope lies in state.
He'll lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica for 3 days.
And the preparations are underway for the world to say goodbye to Pope Francis.
Pope Francis died Monday after suffering a stroke.
The funeral of Pope Francis. Live coverage begins tomorrow morning at 4 a.m.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? but I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-517-1717. That's 800-517-1717. 800-517-1717.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, there are great rates available for you as well. Call Term Busters for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, call Term Busters. 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Jeff Katz, happy to be sitting in for a day. Hope it wasn't that painful. We got a lot that we certainly went through. And, of course, there's always something else coming up, which is why I advise you so many times throughout the course of the program that you do need to get signed up for Eric's daily briefing. It's a vital piece of reading for me, and I read a lot. I have a lot of sources, a lot of material that I like to look at on a daily basis. There are very few, in all candor, that I look forward to. Eric's I look forward to. It's a unique take, and it is one of the things that I enjoy so much about Eric is that he and I do not necessarily always agree. But his reasoning is always well thought out, and his writing is always spot on. So, again, I would urge you to go and sign up for that, review it each and every day. Couple of things I mentioned to you a little bit earlier. On Tuesday, I will be up at the White House, invited to go up there and be part of some sort of an event or briefing or whatever it is. I don't even know, except that I have to be there. That's all. Honest to goodness, that's all I knew. I got like a notification. Hey, we'll see you at such and such a time at the White House. Yeah, sure. And I thought, well, this really does belong in spam, doesn't it? Anybody get an email from the White House and you go, I'm not even going to open it because it's probably some sort of a thing that's going to take over my interwebs. But sure enough, I'm supposed to go up there. So next time you and I get together, I'll let you know what it was that I was able to learn while I was up there. Hopefully get the chance to share it with you as well. I started all of this out with this discussion about the funeral of the Pope and how there are so many people on the ground right now in Rome from the legacy news media who have as their underpinning a contempt for religion, a dislike of actual faith, and really a distrust of those of us who are people of faith. So if, in fact, you watch any of the coverage of the Pope's funeral, if you listen to any of the coverage, please just have that as your guidepost. Make sure you're aware of that. Again, I am not Catholic. I can't tell you about the church traditions or the rules or any of that other stuff, but I can tell you, as somebody who spent so long in the media folks are not your friends overall, and especially not when it comes to matters of faith. You want to stay in touch? Love to. Follow me on X, Jeff Katz Show. Like and follow The Jeff Katz Show over on Facebook. And feel free to shoot an email by going to thejeffkatzshow.com. It is Jeff Katz in for Eric. It's The Eric Erickson Show.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
Guilt trip time. When's the last time you went to the dentist? Can't remember? What year, what decade? Okay, your dental health affects your overall health. And people are stretching out the time between dental visits with great risk of pain and much higher expense later. You know, that old thing with cars, pay me now or pay me later. And the other thing is people get in the dental chair. There was a study that said that most of us lie to the dentist. We say, oh, no, I don't eat sugary things. No, I don't eat popcorn. No, whatever it is. Hey, level with them. They're not judging you. They're just trying to fix your dental health. Make that appointment. Pick up the phone. Get it done. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story, a victory for thousands of international students across the U.S., including here in Georgia. Federal immigration authorities are reversing the termination of student visas. Here's a report all new at 3 o'clock.
The news comes after legal challenges were filed around the country, including one here in Georgia. Charles Cook represents 133 of the students fighting their cancellations.
Well, we're excited that immigration finally realized that the position that they had taken in illegally revoking these service registrations was a bad idea.
But he says questions remain, and he still wants the judge to issue a ruling. Cook also says the fear students feel won't go away, and he thinks the government should apologize. Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
79 degrees in Atlanta. Scattered rain showers will be with us through this evening. Will be dry out for the weekend. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. 1 year later, a call to drop charges against protesters arrested in a clash with police on the Emory University campus.
28 people were arrested, including Emory students and professors, after camping on the university's quad in protest of the war in Gaza and the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. David Jones with the Atlanta Alliance says about half of those arrested still face charges.
We're demanding that the charges be dropped in its entirety for all 28 people who were arrested.
At the time, the university said the protesters were camping on private property. Emory later changed its expression policy to ban overnight encampments and protests. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Georgia Senator John Ossoff is grilled today by constituents at a town hall in Marietta about federal layoffs, including at the Atlanta-based